Well, this is certainly a first. For the first time, we're actually doing a follow-up to it. Now, why that's the case? Well, again, the topic that I set out was not only interesting, but, some people weren't able to show up from beforehand, and I wanted to make it up to them. I wanted to make it up to them and be like, look, I think it'd be cool if we had everybody talk about it, so for the people that missed it, let's give them their chance to shine. And there were a few ideas I didn't exactly address last time that I'm going to bring in too. Also, hey guys, what's up? Lucky Cheese 7 is back again with another Naruto Anniversary podcast for the rewrite of part 2. Wouldn't call this the part 2 of the podcast, we'll call it Team B. There we go. Go my hero route on this. Team A and then Team B. This is the Team B version of that podcast. And, like always, y'all know, can't do these podcasts by myself. I mean, I could, but wouldn't be no fun. That wouldn't be no fun. So I've brought with me some special friends and some special guests. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Team B, that is an insult. No, I'm just kidding.
Nobody.
MangaReader.
And it's me, JamesSCassidy from... Well, no one really gives a shit about Class 2B, do they?
Yeah, I know, right?
It's always Class 1A that goes on the awesome adventures.
Why do the villains only attack them, man?
Yes, Class 2B here, and we're going to briefly talk about our class. How would you change the Naruto ending? Make Naruto canon. And we're done. Out! See you guys.
That's it. That was the pun.
Without making it too obvious. Now, there's a lot, but I should address that there's going to be Sparta who's going to be joining in at some point, so be on the lookout for that. He'll be like Casper. Hey, what's going on?
He's still on the bus.
Hey! How's it going, guys?
Yeah, life kind of messed with us the last time because we all had to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were busy adulting.
I know, life is a mystery, isn't it?
It happens. We all have things going on. And
Someone has to make a living somehow. I like, living.
Yeah, someone has to buy the food.
yeah.
Life is free, man.
We all can't just live on ramen. Well, we can, but...
Wouldn't exactly help for a long-lasting standpoint, but it can at least keep you satisfied for a while. Enough.
I was in an art career, but only so many ways you could deal with top ramen.
Right? Only so many ways. And for those of you that are just checking out this podcast in particular, and you're wondering, hey, how come you're not doing a rewrite of part 1? Well, I think it's unanimous that part 1 is just too good, and there's not a lot you could really change about part 1 from a storytelling standpoint. That being said, the only thing I could really bring up for part 1 is minor tweaks that could be made into the story. And I'll just go ahead and say this. The only thing I could think of for some tweaks that could be made is maybe add a couple smaller arcs in between the Land of Waves and the Chunin exams just to give Team 7 some more growth with each other before that happens.
Are you suggesting filler?
Good filler.
Good lord, sir.
Nonsense. Challenge accepted. We could totally change part 1 to be better. It's a good start.
Push that all towards the end.
It's a good start, but we could change it.
Yeah. The only other minor thing I would change is, say, in the Forest of Death, you actually showcase Sasuke saving Karin. Just add that one little bit. It's oh, okay. You just think she's just some random character that he just saves, but eventually just comes back into play in part 2.
Yeah.
That was more than our fandom would want that.
That did kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Why do you Hey, Karen, why do you like Sasuke? Because he saved me that one time in the Forest of Death. Wait, what? When? How?
Yeah, because
why?
because I remember looking back at part 1 and I was like, wait a minute. Did that really happen?
Remember that one time when Sasuke went into the forest and Naruto and Sakura were looking at the scroll?
Yeah, I was flipping through the old pages like, where? They were together the entire time.
Where did this fit? She clearly didn't make it.
Yeah. So that little tweak might be something I might add in for tweaking part 1. But what about you guys? What would you
I have a lot to say on this topic, so I'm going to let MangaReader go first.
Time the part 1 remake or whatever. Really gave too much thought to that one, mainly because I thought part 1 was a little less, well, I should say more flawless than part 2, but
if there's any that you think that should be tweaked, part 1.
mean, I did think that your suggestion for maybe adding a few more missions in between arcs would have probably given the group dynamic more focus. Mainly just it'd probably be more Naruto and Sasuke's bond, because there wasn't really
that much of it.
Yeah, it sort of happened, but not. I guess you could argue the Chunin arc was supposed to be the start of it or some crap like that, but I don't know, something in between there just to show them somewhat doing teamwork level crap or something like that, I'd say.
Well, it was heavily implied that they went on missions that we didn't see.
I know. Like, how many missions did you do? Well, you see, we only did one, and then we went on a we went to the tuning exams.
We have to chase that damn cat 5 times.
Yep.
Well, and this is something I just want to ask. Didn't Kishi say that originally that's what he wanted to do, was showcase more missions with?
Yeah.
I don't know, honestly, so if James is saying yeah, then it's probably true.
And actually, Yahagi was the one that talked him out of it.
They just wanted to do it like Dragon Ball, where it went arc to arc, I'm guessing.
Yes.
For shonen. No one wants time for boring old story. Let's get back to the action.
Well, I could talk about this in 2 different ways. I could talk about this as a fan and as a writer.
Okay.
You're a writer?
Which ha ha.
You can do both aspects.
Sure.
No, but continue.
Well, which one do you want to hear?
Do both. Unless you think it's taking up too much time.
You got the fan aspect first.
Okay, so the fan aspect, I have to agree with MangaReader about adding more depth to the characters, especially when it comes to their relationship with each other. Now, you don't need to add everything in there right off the bat, but you can at least show at least 1 or 2 more missions of them actually getting closer as a team.
Yeah.
So something like they face a challenge that really, as a writer, you want to basically, you create an opposition that advances the development. So you always have something that, a struggle or hurdle or anything like that pushes the character to develop a certain aspect. So if you have Sasuke be a loner, and you have him be that lone wolf kind of thing, have a mission where he tries doing that and he utterly fails and he realizes that he needs a team to back him up and how valuable a team is. I mean, you could argue, I guess that's with Zabuza and Haku, but it really didn't get across hard enough. I saw the Zabuza and Haku as more about, like, do things without realizing that we're doing it, you know, because we have a connection with people. It was a start as something, but it didn't really flesh it out. We didn't really get much out of Sasuke about that one.
That's true.
So we saw from Naruto, you know, I'm not like you, which is a very cringe line, but whatever.
Cringe.
So you need like 1 or 2 missions that really push that. Maybe a mission that, and this is going to sound a little cliche, if Zabuza and Haku is for Naruto, then you need a mission that puts Sasuke on that defensive, that armor-piercing question, and maybe you need another mission that has an armor-piercing question against Sakura. And you could do that, and this way you have the characters like really think, what am I doing? Why am I doing it?
Yeah.
If they don't have to solve the problem right then and there, obviously, because it is the beginning. It's just something like this is where they start to question things, and this is where you start to grow up, and that's supposed to be the whole point. And this is where I think a lot of changes could have happened with Naruto too. Okay, so in the beginning, one of the biggest messages in the beginning of part one of Naruto was supposed to be about hard work beats gifts or genetic superiority. We know where that went in the end, but still, because if we're going to go by that plot, Naruto is the most privileged child in the entire series, no matter all of his fallbacks. But what needs to establish is that if you have Naruto be this lazy kid who's trying to do everything the easy way, then I think we need to establish in part one that he needs to learn that he actually has to put in effort. It's not just going to keep coming to him, and it's not about being repetitive. Oh, if I do the same motion over and over, I'm eventually going to get this. Yeah, that sometimes works, but it doesn't work in every situation. We need, from a writer standpoint, you need to establish that these characters are living, I guess you say. So you need them to be like, okay, well, I always did it like this, and it always worked. Well, what happens if you come across a situation where that doesn't work? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Naruto, for some odd reason, is a wizard when it comes to this. He keeps doing the same thing over and over again, and somehow everything changes.
A wizard.
Yeah, so I think they need to show how Naruto matures in part one. Not too much, again, because you don't want to go too far with it, but then show, like, maybe he wants to sit down and study a little bit more. Maybe he's just having difficulty with it. Maybe have a scene with him and Sasuke or him and Sakura, just like man, I just can't get it. Like, I mean, they say, read this, look at this, everything like this, and then, like, he can't get it. Because he's not
a lot of the smaller moments to it.
Yeah.
Off-screen chakra recline.
And don't get me wrong, we do get some scenes like how Sakura was teaching how to walk up a tree and chakra manipulation, which was great. It just wasn't enough. We need more of it. Especially we need Naruto to mature more in this aspect, because he already starts out that he's lazy and everyone says he's lazy and he doesn't do anything and he's the worst ninja ever because he doesn't want to study anything. The dude barely knows what chakra is, let alone anything else. And I'm like, how is this kid succeeding?
Did they say he was lazy? I thought they just said that he was just undisciplined or some crap like that. I don't know.
Yeah, but when was the last time you seen him study anything?
Yeah, I mean, he fell asleep in class. I mean, that was about...
He doesn't even make an attempt. He just says, oh, my will is so strong, I'm going to do it no matter what. And then they pass him, and I'm like, okay, great, but you need something more than that.
See, the one time he studied, he actually mastered something that was impossible for most people.
Yeah. Naruto, why do you want to be Hokage? Because I want everybody to respect me. Okay, yes, the position comes with that. But maybe you should start realizing that it's because people respect you is how you become Hokage. And being Hokage is not just fame and fortune. It's a job. It's a lifestyle. You're meant to be a leader of your people. When have you learned to do that?
And they said that in part 2. They didn't say how he got any of that crap, but I think they finally actually tackled that in part 2.
I mean, throughout the entire series, he doesn't really know what it means to be Hokage until after he gets his arm blown off, there's a world of peace and everything, and they're like, okay, now you gotta learn the boring stuff. Well, he could have been learning that throughout the entire series.
Yeah.
Why didn't? Why not?
Thanks, Itachi.
Yeah, so that's one thing I would change, is we need to have more development with these characters. And I think this is the problem with Kishi has, and I'm not sure, and like I said, you could say Yahagi kind of put a stop to it, but then again, I wonder if Yahagi was looking at Kishimoto and goes, you're really bad at doing this, just don't do it. You're going to be long-winded and get nowhere, so only do stuff if it has a point. Because I'll be honest with you, it'd be great to see him go on different missions, but if nothing ends up from it, what's the point?
12 pages of nothing but backstory.
I know, look at Boruto. Repeat the same thing. Oh, here's another Kaguya descendant. Here's another this. Here's another that. Now everybody hates the series because it's nothing. It's gibberish. It's not like Boruto's learning anything.
But cheating is
Y'all
wrong.
laugh, but you know I'm right.
Cheating is wrong.
Cheating is wrong. Believe it.
Believe it.
No, I don't believe you, Naruto. I don't believe a single word that you said so far, because you have not proven to me anything. You want to be the best around. Nothing's ever going to keep you down, but you're unwilling to train for it. Rocky trained for it.
He did.
He's running upstairs. He's punching meat. He's doing all this. I don't care if it's some kind of montage. I need to see something that he's putting in some kind of effort, not just, oh, why do I gotta study this?
Oh man, this sucks.
Why do I gotta do this? Naruto, quit your bitching.
Filler.
Okay? And that's why you have Neji, do that one thing during the tournament. Oh, you think anybody can just be Hokage? Oh, you think that nobody else could be Hokage because they weren't trying hard enough? Come on.
Once a failure, always a failure.
Yeah, how many other people, how many other characters in the series do you know that probably said, I want to do some great things, and then didn't end up doing anything?
Not Hinata.
Oh, I have a thing to say about Hinata on that one, but,
You have a thing to say about that one. Let's see. Rock Lee didn't really accomplish much, or we don't know what he accomplished.
He accomplished being a badass. That's what he accomplished.
He did.
Rock Lee is the epitome of what the message of Naruto was supposed to be. If you renamed the series Rock Lee, I would have been more than happy.
You'd have been more than happy. You say that now, but would you have said that back then?
Yes, after I saw Rock Lee kick the shit out of Sasuke. I was clapping, I was standing up, I was doing laps.
Laps.
And then, Sasuke's like, alright, I'm gonna cheat with my powers. And Rock Lee's like, sit down, bitch. Sit down.
My speed's too much for your comprehension.
Yeah, and you could just see Sasuke on the ground, and Rock Lee is standing on top of him and go, oh yeah! You were talking all that good shit a second ago, and then you got kicked in your chest.
You got kicked in your chin. Chin music.
It's like a game of cards. It's like, okay, I've got this hand. I think I'm good. I got this. Yeah. What do you got? Royal Street.
And
reverse Uno.
So that's with the kids part. I think another thing that really needs to change is, and again, I blame Kishimoto for this because he wanted to keep it vague, and I'm like, there's a way you could have made it vague to be more meaningful. I think Naruto's parents should have played a greater role with all the other characters. Okay? So? Yeah. Kakashi, Jiraiya, Tsunade, everybody who had a connection to Naruto's parents. Okay?
Yeah.
Do you remember Harry Potter, right? You remember Harry's parents?
Mm-hmm.
You remember how big of a role they played in Harry's life, despite not being there? No?
Sort of. I would say sort of remember.
I don't remember them talking too much about them all the time.
I remember them bringing
so you remember scenes like, oh, this is Lily's child. This is James' child. Oh yeah, do we want him involved because this is what happens when his parents did this. We don't want him to suffer the same fate.
Yeah.
We don't want him to suffer the same fate that his parents did because we know that the parents don't want that to happen. Remember dialogue like that?
Yes.
Right? Well, imagine that, but with all the characters. Imagine Jiraiya, Naruto meets Jiraiya, and Naruto's like, Jiraiya, you're so cool, and you're so strong. I want you to teach me to be a great ninja. And then Naruto's just trying. And Jiraiya, being a fun-loving hermit that he is, he's like, I'm not going to teach you. Why? Because he taught his father. And then he's like, but I don't want, and Jiraiya could be in the back of his mind, I don't want to teach him because I don't want him to end up the same fate that his parents did. I don't want him. It keeps it vague enough that you don't know, but also know that something bad happened to him. And then maybe, you just, teach me. No. Teach me. No. Why won't you teach me? Because. Why? Because reasons. What are reasons? I'm not going to give them to you.
Yeah.
I don't think they mentioned his parents until like what, part 2?
Yeah,
and I remember Jiraiya and Tsunade were just having like that conversation. I was like, huh, it's the first we're hearing about that.
Yeah, and then maybe Naruto does something, and then Jiraiya's like, maybe I will teach him. You know, is that and just like is this what? And like have a thought to himself, like, is this really what you wanted for him? And then again, keep it vague, but then have Jiraiya like have his own little development right there. Like maybe he was so reluctant to teach it because look at Jiraiya's history. He taught Minato, who ended up sacrificing himself. He taught Pain, who ended up becoming evil. And you can have this reflect in Jiraiya, like every time I teach students, something bad happens to them. Like maybe I just shouldn't have students, even though the frog told me like, oh, well, my student's gonna be great. Well, so far they haven't been so great. Maybe the only thing great about them is how they die. I don't know, but I think that could play a good role in it, and it also could show Naruto wanting to learn more and actually want to be a better ninja. Because it didn't strike with me that Naruto wanted to be a legit good ninja. He just wanted attention.
Can I have everyone's attention?
That is essentially what happened.
Yeah. But if you have Naruto understand what it really means to be a ninja, I mean, even Sasuke asked this question: what does it mean to be a ninja? Well, you haven't been learning this throughout the entire series.
What does it mean? It means.
Itachi knew this shit. That's why he killed his clan.
Yep.
But if you had Naruto learn that throughout part 1, and then in part 2 start to grasp it even more.
Firmly grasp it.
Firmly grasp it. No. What I mean is that the biggest issue with these characters is, and I think we all can agree with this, not just one way or the other, they remain stagnant. Too stagnant, and they always seem to didn't learn anything. And that was such a bad thing. And people may disagree with me about, well, they learned all this, and they learned that, and they learned this. Okay, but the concepts didn't really drive home until the very last part of it.
Yeah.
It's better to spread out that kind of development than just be like, okay, well, bonds are important, and then just scream Sasuke for the next 400 chapters.
Okay.
I got a lot to talk about that.
Sasuke! I didn't feel like Naruto learned anything. I'll put it that way.
I can see it.
Naruto was just kind of like, okay, this is what I believe. You better believe what I believe because I believe it, and you should too. And if you don't believe it, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
Basically, just talk his way out of a situation. That's essentially what happened.
Good talk no jutsu.
Which, okay, in Zelda's case, it made sense. I could see why it happened for that. I mean, to a lesser extent, I can kind of see Gaara too. I don't know about
somebody missed opportunities. And the one speech I liked is the one everybody hated.
Which one?
The one where he's talking to Pain.
That's true.
Everyone hated that speech. I actually thought it was clever. Because it showed Naruto's resolve about it. I know we're jumping the gun on this one, but I'm not going to bring this up because it actually feels like the actual development that could have happened earlier in the series. But that's just me. When Pain asks, okay, how are you going to achieve peace? How are you going to do this? Because Pain's always like, well, I did this way and you're fighting against it. Well, how are you going to do it? How are you going to be any different? And Naruto's like, I don't know. But just because I don't have the answer now doesn't mean I won't have the answer ever. That's the whole point. That's what life is about. It's trying to find those answers.
How would you feel if that question was brought up at the end of part 1?
I think it's a little early.
A little early
to pull it part 1. Part 1 should have been more about establishing the closer bonds that Naruto has.
Yeah, that's what I agree with too. It should have been more about that.
I
I would definitely say add a lot more like quieter moments too. Like let's just say like they're just hanging out or whatnot.
Yeah. And, add more development for Sakura, add more development for Sasuke. Even if it's bad development, even if it's like, what I mean by that is like, even if like it drives Sasuke to be more of an asshole, so be it. Then you just set up for part 2.
Yep.
Those are good suggestions, and they could work out too.
And like everyone always hates like Obito, and everyone hates like Pain, and everybody hates them like, oh, they're doing these things for stupid reasons. I think Sasuke's reasoning was just as dumb, if not dumber, and he had more privileges.
But he was a good guy the whole time.
Oh yeah, he was just confused and mistreated, and
That's still no good excuse for Kage-sama, which when we get to that, I have a whole discussion saved for that.
Yeah, but see, that's what I would change in part 1.
That's what you changed?
Yeah.
Nope.
Especially since this is supposed to be after an attack, after a war, after everything. You're at the lowest point that you could possibly be with these villages. They seem to just exist just to exist. Yeah. There's really no drive, no notion, no anything. And then here comes Naruto, who has this naivety about the world, but he doesn't know what the real world is. So you have Naruto break that cycle. Going back to this concept again, break the cycle where he has hope, he has understanding, but then also have him understand why the world is as it is right now. Why everyone seems hopeless.
Yeah.
Why everything. And then have Naruto be like, I get it, and I can understand why you look at it this way, but it's not going to change until you do. And that's what I'm trying to do. But no, you just have Naruto go, believe it, believe it, believe it, believe it, believe it, believe it, believe it. Shut the f up. I'm living on the streets. If this was Sesame Street, I'd be grouch right now because I'm living in a fucking trash can.
I'm so glad that part 2 like completely diverged that dialogue so much. Oh my god.
Such is life.
I'm not believing it, Naruto. You're just telling me you are going to change it. You're not telling me how. You're not understanding why things the way they are. Obito, as stupid as people believe it is, Obito, I understand why he did what he did. I get it. You're in the middle of a war. Shit's going down. You're living day by day as a gift because you could be killed at any moment. We're talking about ninjas here. You could be walking down the street and dead.
Legit.
Villages are breaking treaties with each other. Villages are backstabbing, espionage. This is going on. That's going on. The clan's wiped out. These ones are trying to start something. These ones are telling the other clan that you owe us little girls because we made a treaty with you that we broke. Still not sure how that works.
Still not sure.
Well, that was that Hyuga treaty with the lightning, I think it was.
I think so, yeah.
They made this treaty just so they could lure the Hyuga into a false sense of it, just so they could steal the little girl for her eyes.
Oh no! Oh no!
And then they got caught. They're like, "Hey, you caught out one of our ninjas. You owe us one." Wait, what? You broke the treaty. This is an act of war.
You dumbasses.
But see that's what Naruto needed to be, and this is why Rock Lee is such a great thing because he had everything against him, and yet he still believed I will still be one of the best ninja ever, and he was, even though he was more a taijutsu monk, I guess. But to have Naruto show real world aspects, especially, I mean, yeah, they're pretty young, but this is the kind of world where it doesn't matter your age; you can be killed at any moment. So have Naruto shown those dark realizations about the world, but still have a positive tone about it, like what Superman does. Oh, I'm sorry, nobody ever reads Superman comics anymore because they think he's boring.
Mm-hmm.
But But imagine Naruto doing like a Superman thing or something like that, where he just goes, look, you did some horrible, disgusting shit in the past, but I can't do anything about that. All I can do with is now and in the future. So I'm making you an offer right now. We can fight, and one of us could potentially die, or you can change right now, and we can try to solve the problem.
That would
We
be
could do something.
Not gonna lie, that would actually be so much better if
Yeah.
they went that.
Yeah. Naruto needs to slowly lose that naivety. Like it's not always rainbows and sunshines. There has to be compromises. There has to be understandings. And we sort of got this concept in part 2, but it wasn't good enough. It wasn't strong enough of a point.
No, it wasn't.
Because you care more about pairings. This person loves this person. Bonds. Sasuke. And I was like, okay, there's more to it than that.
There is.
Hey Naruto, my village was pretty fucked up. What are we gonna do about that? Well, you just have to get over it. No, I'm living in a house that has a big hole in the roof. I barely have any food. I have to scrounge for food. I have no money. I'm poor. What are we gonna do about that? Oh, well, just believe it, and eventually good things will happen. It doesn't work like that. I know it works for you because you're the son of Hokage. You're descendant of a great clan. You have teachers that, like, the best teacher, the greatest ninja in the world, are teaching you techniques. I'm sorry, I'm not as privileged as you. I don't have a demon fox thing in my butthole.
I thought this was still part 1.
This is part 1.
Damn it!
But that's what I would basically change. Sakura, hey, have Sakura. Okay, she really likes Sasuke. Great. Understand where you're coming from. He's the most popular boy in school. Why? Other than that, why do you like him? I don't know. Well, he doesn't like you. Well, why not? He should. Well, it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't.
I loved you for all my life. You must, yeah.
And you pairing fans, fuck you guys. You parent fans, fuck you. Oh, well, Sasuke always loved Sakura. You just didn't know it yet. Fuck you. If that were true, no guy would ever be rejected. Ever.
No guy would ever be rejected.
Yeah.
It's true.
You never get over your first crush. Again, if that were true, guys would have it made. We would never, ever be rejected by women ever again. Oh, but it's only women. It's only women who are allowed to keep their first crush, and we, as the men, have to reciprocate it. Otherwise, we'd be horrible people.
Oh no! Oh no!
How about expand Sakura? Why do you love Sasuke? I don't know. Well, then maybe that's not a good enough reason. Do you truly actually love him, or you just want to fuck him? Because apparently every other girl wants to fuck him. What makes you so special?
It's a fair question. It really is.
I don't know.
You don't want stuff, and they're still like this.
I mean, like, I could understand it if, like, say, he did something for her at school, but even then, I'm like...
But he didn't do anything.
No, he didn't.
He didn't even do a Japanese trope of pulling up her eraser off the ground. Remember that trope in some romance mangas where he or she would drop their eraser on the floor and they would pick it up and go, "Here, you dropped this. Oh my god, he gave me attention. It's got what it takes. So tell me, why can't this be love?" No, we didn't even get that.
No, we didn't.
He tried to kill me twice, so that means he must love me. That's not how it works.
Oh.
What about Sasuke when he stabbed Naruto through the arm?
That should be the end of the series, both Sakura and Naruto. Sasuke, we're pregnant. How did that happen? You stabbed us. With my hand. Well, yeah, that's how Uchiha procreate.
That's how it works.
Yeah, that's how Uchiha procreate.
What? What? Child support.
Now explains why Neji kept poking Hinata. Poke. It's not working, Sasuke. We'll keep trying. Fridge whore. Did you try the forehead? Hold on. The Neji fight was the biggest armor piercing questions that I think were ever in the series. And Neji was right.
Neji was right.
He was.
The only way that you can be special is you have to be born special. And he's completely right.
In part 1. No,
Yeah,
that's part 1. Part 1.
Is there any other changes you think you would make in part 1, or would that be it?
I got the tournament. Okay. The rest of the changes are really just minor stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really anything. Like you said, it's mostly flawless. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say it is, because obviously I already have my trepidations about it. The only thing I would actually change is the tournament. While it's okay, I still think it was kind of bullshit that Naruto kind of, like, tapped Kiba and Neji once, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, we can't fight no more, because apparently beating someone's ass is so tiring.
Oh, no.
I mean, even Neji's fight was like, okay, either call the fight or start counting. He even said this. Naruto should have lost. Should have lost to Kiba. But I was like, okay. Should have lost to Kiba, but we'll give him that one. Then comes Neji fight. It's even worse. Neji has him on the ropes the entire fight. Naruto doesn't even get a hit in. Not one. Until the end.
Nine-tailed fox, man.
And then apparently Neji, I'm too weak to continue fighting. Because apparently a knock to the chin, that's the ultimate pressure point.
Power.
I can't feel my body.
Power.
I'm not even asking for like a lesson learned on this one, even though Neji was right about everything. It's just like, you have to make the fights more equal, I should say.
I was going to say strategic, but that makes more sense.
Yeah, you can make it more strategic. Like, do a JoJo with it, you know? Look how JoJo fights are. It's always about, even if you're not the most powerful, that doesn't mean you can't win, because you could use tactics. Now, some of the tactics might be a little bit out there, but somehow it still works, and you're like, that requires a lot of luck doing it, but I mean, if you want that to be a trait, which is not uncommon for some characters to have just an immense amount of luck when it comes to things, and for Naruto, you could do it. Because you can see, like, he has a lot of luck on his side. Well, that's just him. The universe just seems to work in his favor, but it works a little too well in Naruto's case, because it's just like, he's doing things that he shouldn't even be doing. That it make JoJo like, how did you even do that? You know?
Yeah.
But the fights need to be more equal. Maybe have Naruto land a few more punches on Kiba and Neji. Maybe have, I mean, look at Rock Lee versus Gaara. Look how good that fight was. One of the fights in the tournament that nobody has to complain about. I've never heard a single complaint about this fight. Naruto Gaara, so privileged, you know. He's so powerful that all he has to do is stand there. Like he's never had the move. He just stood there, and his Santa has done everything. He's never been moved. And then here comes Rock Lee. Challenge accepted. Starts like going easy on him, and takes Gaara off guard. And he's like, all right, time to get serious. Move the leg weights. Get rid of we're gonna Goku this shit. Just take off all the way. And then here we go. Open fourth gate and pop, 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 pop. You know, the Gaara can't even keep up, and then the Gaara's on the ground like, how the fuck did he do that? It hurts, and then, you know, and then you have like Rock Lee thing, and the dude was unconscious. He was unconscious and still willing to fight.
Oh man, yeah, that was a good fight.
It was.
Yeah,
might have been the best of the tuning exam.
My man Rock Lee.
Man, Rock Lee. And then he gets out of commission for the next, like, whatever chapters.
I know.
Practically until the Sasuke retrieve arc.
Yeah. Kimimaro, right? That's his name.
Yep. Where he kind of got nerfed.
I wanted to see more of drunken Rock Lee.
That was funny.
But he got nerfed in that fight. compared to whatever the. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was just.
That's I'm like,
Maybe they were using the excuse that he had just gotten out of the hospital, but I don't know.
Filler. I want to see a filler episode. Madara versus Drunken Rock Lee.
Drunken Rodley.
I mean, you had Kimimaru in the war. Technically, you could have brought that back in.
Yeah, I'm surprised Loopy Fist didn't end up getting used, except for what in the movie one time, the first Naruto Shippuden movie.
I think so, yeah.
And then it got used in filler arcs, but yeah, I'm
No,
surprised.
those are good suggestions, Shane. Like, I could definitely see those, like, actually really strengthening part one.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I really thought about this. I really looked at everything I could think of and where the missed opportunities were to really advance these characters. And I really, really think it would have been a great idea to have, like, Jiraiya and Kakashi have reluctance to want to teach Naruto anything because they don't want him to suffer the same fate his parents did, but realize that it's better to teach him and have him be prepared for what he has to face in the world growing up than it is to have him have nothing and he'd be in more danger if he didn't learn anything. And hell, have Naruto be the kind of person that's like, I'm not looking for a fight, but if one comes find me, I'm willing to like dance, But you have to have the tenacious shonen hero, so whatever.
it works in its own way. But,
Yeah, but I just wasn't convinced that Naruto really believed what he was saying, and that's pretty bad. I understand. I understand his naivety in part one. So I don't want to have people make comments or anything like, "Oh, but he was so young and everything." Yeah, I get that. I understand that, and that's acceptable, especially when you're starting the series out. It's the fact that he kept this throughout the entire series. He didn't really change that. He just kind of learned new techniques. We can make arguments here and there, but in overall, he never really changed that. Didn't really even understand Sasuke either. There was no understanding of who Sasuke was to Naruto. He's just like, oh, he's just a brother. I don't know why I'm doing this. Okay, it's great from a moral standpoint, but it's weak from a writing standpoint.
yeah, and like I would even say like have like big moments, have like little subtle moments where you don't notice it at first, but like when you look back at part one, it's like, okay, now you can see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Part one, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
really,
again, for the most part, part one still lives up for the most. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I was going to say this. I think that's why a lot of people still hold up hold Naruto on such a high standard is because of part one, and I won't deny that part one as a whole is pretty great. It's got some issues, sure, but I wouldn't say it's like totally flawless.
Yeah. But you got to begin it strong, and you have to end it strong.
Yeah.
Well, part one ended pretty strong with Naruto versus Sasuke.
And I mean, and if you don't believe me, like look at other better shonen.
Better shonen.
Look at Yu Yu Hakusho. Look how Yusuke went from being a punk 14-year-old, and then all this stuff happens to him, and then he actually grows up as a character.
Yeah, like Yusuke at the start of Yu Yu Hakusho and at the end are like two different people.
Yeah. Damn wit.
Damn wit.
And then you have the one where the Toguro fight where he thought Kuwabara died, and then you think, okay, he's gonna get super angry now, and he's not. He's not super angry. He's more upset with himself than he is about being angry about what Toguro did, because he's like, Toguro didn't. Toguro, I should have saw what Toguro was going to do, and I did nothing. I failed. and that's when he releases all that power that he had. And because I'm rewatching Yu Yu Hakusho, and I get like that's another thing that I had. That's reflection on it. Like, okay, so Naruto, you had something like that, but it just wasn't as refined. Okay, you got him angry. You have moments where he gets super angry about it. You got moments where, which was great, like the Zabuza versus Haku, that whole thing, great. The whole thing was perfect. It really was. Minor tweaks here and there that we could have changed, sure, but overall the message was great.
It was.
And Naruto really pushed something. You know, showing that ninja weren't tools. We're not just some fodder. We're not just some things that you just send to war and then, if we die, that's it. No, we're human beings. We're people. And we need to accept that if we're going to fight and kill each other, that we're not just killing tools. We're not just destroying things. We're taking away innocent lives for what we believe in. And it's that belief system that we're willing to like die for, and maybe that's what you, because there's always a quote that I have that I like saying, like, it's easy to die for what you believe in, it's much harder to live for it. So maybe that's what Naruto could have did. He could have been like, okay, you kill and you're willing to die for everything that you believe in, but how much can you say that you're willing to live for it?
That's true. It honestly is.
And then Yusuke kind of does this more. Originally, he didn't care whether he lived or died because he thought he was such a burden. And then he sees how he interacts with the world. Even his worst enemy, Kuwabara, how Kuwabara reacted and how they had to hold him back. And even then, he couldn't hold him back. And then he's just like, maybe I should be alive. Maybe my life is worth something and I just didn't see it. And what does he do? He becomes a great character. The ending, so good. So good.
So good?
Yeah, so good.
Which one, the manga or the anime?
Both.
Oh. I mean, if I had to pick, I'd probably pick the anime, but the manga's pretty good.
I think
the manga's pretty good.
Short, though.
Yeah, the anime kind of make an amalgamation of both the endings slammed into one.
Yeah.
Kind of. But just having Keiko on the beach screaming out, I can't keep waiting for you. I have to live my life. I've been waiting for you half my life. And it feels like I always keep waiting. And then she basically pulls up this, like, I'm not going to keep waiting for you anymore. And then he shows up and goes, well, I don't want you to. And then you have this moment where it's so great. And you could have did that with, like, Narasaku. Hell, you could have did it with Narahina.
Could have, but you didn't.
But you didn't.
You could have,
but you didn't.
But you didn't.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I'm sorry. I'm so sick of this argument. How would you write the story to make Narahina better? How would you do? It doesn't matter. They didn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, the argument I always bring it to people is like if you really wanted to like go after going off from the manga, you could do the last and have it to where like you set it up to where Naruto and Hinata are already hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, showcase that Neji did in fact bring them closer, but
yeah,
you didn't get that.
Yeah. What Kishimoto? 5 editors. 5. And this is what they came up with.
Basically.
5 editors. 5 of them. Didn't even write the story.
I mean, we talked about this Lucky Chi on the Rurouni Kenshin one. This is why I think people need to go back and watch the good shonen Yu Yu Hakusho Rurouni Kenshin. Because if you compare it to Naruto, they did it much better.
They did.
They did everything much better. They set up everything great. They had the love triangles. They had everything going on. And yet you still had the characters learn something, develop their character, understand who they are. And they didn't have to change their personality that much. Really? Yusuke was still an outlandish brat at times, but that didn't mean he didn't learn something. Well, he was.
No, legit, he was.
And and that's what's so sad about Naruto, especially when it comes to part 1, because part 1 was good, and you don't need that many changes, but like it felt like part 1 was completely ignored. Everything that part 1 established, that they're like, yeah, fuck it, we don't want to do that anymore. We're gonna focus on this. And you, the fandom, fuck you guys. Guys didn't care for it at all. You didn't give a damn about any of it because you're just like, I just want my pairing to be canon. And now you can point the fingers and say, well, what about you? Didn't you want Narasaka to be canon? Didn't you care all about that? Yes, we did care about Narasaka.
If Narusaku happened in the same fashion, I would have said, no.
Yeah,
I don't accept that.
This is horrible. And I can confidently say that because I used to be a Narahina fan myself because I thought it was so sweet in part 1 and everything like that. I thought it was something, but then after a while, I started looking at Naruto himself and how he felt and everything that he looked at and everything he did. Okay, it doesn't matter how much you hate Sakura. Naruto loved her. Naruto thought she was great. Naruto saw all the potential in her, and isn't that what's the most important about it? Was what he felt, what he saw. Isn't the story supposed to be about him? I mean, his name is on the damn cover, for crying out loud. It's not Hinata, the manga. But no, you all didn't care about that. You completely ignored everything that part 1 set up, and then you will still want to sit here and say, well, part 1 was so good. Yeah, too bad you didn't care about it. Too bad you completely ignored everything that part 1 tried to establish.
And it's like what you said, a lot of the stuff that part 1 had wasn't there. Well, okay, I can't say it wasn't there in part 2, because you could say it kind of was there in like the beginning, but after a while it just faded away.
It was shallow. It was completely and totally shallow. It just establishes it. It's anticlimactic. Oh yeah, we want to have peace with the entire villages. How are we going to do that? We don't know. It just happens. Okay, well that's not good enough. If that's the case, Obito brought all the nations together because he started this world war. Because I'm going to make an enemy out of everybody. Congratulations, Obito brought peace to the entire Shinobi world. And this is how you get Sasuke and his motivation, which is brilliant, I might add. It's a secret brilliance right there, because Sasuke was like, okay, so this is the only way to achieve peace, was that you had to have a common enemy.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. And then, and Sasuke's like, yeah, I won't actively go out and kill people, but the moment you all forget that you're supposed to be an alliance, I'll come back and start shit. And he said this.
He did. Immediately
I'm going to remind you why having an alliance is important. When you start to forget, I will come back and remind you. Which, I hate to say it, is a legitimate way to create peace.
It is. Honestly, it is.
I mean, look at the Halo series. How they talk about, okay, we had all this resurgence, we had these pirates, we had this, we had that. Then the Covenant come, and then everyone's like, yeah, we can't be fighting amongst ourselves. We got to defeat these assholes that want to wipe us out. And all of humanity fought against the Covenant. We were getting our ass kicked, but we all fought together. Hindsight's 2020.
Hindsight.
And then you could have had Naruto really break that down. Sasuke, I get it, where you're coming from. And on paper, it seems legit.
But the execution is where it fell.
Yeah. But it's fake. And this is what I learned. It's fake. You can't force people to get along with each other. The only way we could do that is you have to understand where the other person's coming from. And I thought this was the whole message the whole time, but again, it just kind of anticlimactically happened. And part 1 established all this. This is why it's so good. Again, it establishes all this. Part 1, you build up the characters that you know, and which is what we tried to have. You build up Naruto, you build up Sasuke, you build up Sakura, you introduce the other characters that have influence, and then you explain to them. You don't even need to go that deep into it. You just say, okay, well, here's Jiraiya, he's this, he's a hermit, he grew up this, here's this person, this is this, this is this, this is this. Okay, don't need to explain anything more than that. You already got that. It's great. Then you get to part 2, and you will build it. What are the other nations doing? Why do they hate each other? Why are they doing this? And that's how you create a good story. You start out with the character building so we can establish each character for who they are, then you go into the world building. But you all didn't care about the world building. You cared more about, there's ninja on the moon. Well, that's not world building. That's just cheap. That's why Mamoru is so good, because he had such a history.
And he was set up in part 1 too.
Yeah.
If you really
Sort
look
of.
at it.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of sort of set up. Not much, but he was there.
Yeah.
You got like a little thing with the statue, but that would still love to be like, oh, okay, so
I think they only mentioned him by name once, but I don't remember how it was. Probably something Sasuke related.
it was it was there was I'm trying to remember when it happened, but there was at least one. I know that.
I was gonna say, I mean,
one indirectly with the statues, but
what was Kish's favorite romance movie again? That would explain why all our romance was shit.
500 Days of Summer?
Yeah. Probably.
Well, we're not going to watch that series because if that inspired Naruto, I hate to see it.
Well, it had a very lackluster ending.
It does.
That's a 2009 film, no less.
Yeah,
Naruto
Susan got with Sean.
That's actually a good way to segue into part two, unless
it was a romantic comedy drama.
Yeah,
is what it was. Romantic comedy drama.
Romantic comedy drama. So a lot.
I'd rather win with the "she's out of my league" route.
So let's now dive into part two, or at least the first half, from the Kazekage arc to the Pain arc, which the first two arcs as a whole, I think they work. Except there's one thing I would change about Naruto's character, because he goes on this 3-year training with Jiraiya, and you're expecting him to be like, okay, like, what's he up to? Like, what are some new things he learned? And one of the things we saw from Naruto's character is that, like, like he matured a little, but he's not like as goofy as he was. And as far as his moveset goes, it's like, oh, hey, look, I can do a bigger Rasengan. Okay, you trained with Jiraiya, right? Yeah. For how long? 3 years. And all you could do was a bigger Rasengan?
Yep. Blue ball for 2 years.
Lame! No, so the thing I would do is I would set up Sage Mode like right off the gate. Not that it's perfect, but that he can at least do that. That's the first thing I would do. Have that he has Sage Mode, but it's not like a complete version of it.
I actually wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't?
Mm-mm. I actually would establish something else.
What would you do?
Didn't want Sage Mode?
Wind techniques.
Oh.
That's another one I would have added in too.
More nature chart. Not just like making a wind shuriken or or anything like that, or Rasen shuriken. No, like great. That's great, and you can learn that one later. But like, he learns that kind of technique as he's learning nature chakra, and he doesn't learn anything. It would have been better to have him learn nature techniques right off the bat. Yeah. Like right after the 2 years. You don't have to give him crazy shit. Just enough.
Just enough.
Yeah.
Maybe lack of arsenal, but
yeah. Maybe he didn't learn about combining the wind with the Rasengan because he never knew he could combine them. And and then you have Kakashi drop that bomb. Oh yeah, the fourth Hokage made this technique. Oh really? I didn't know that. Yeah. Actually, it's incomplete. Really? Yeah. He was trying to like combine nature chakra with it.
That's how much Chidori came in. Lightning Blade came in.
You could combine nature chakra with it? Yeah. Huh. Yeah. And then
that's why I made the lightning blade, because I tried combining my lightning chakra with the Rasengan and failed. Yeah. But thank God I got the Sharingan, because the lightning blade also failed.
I still and I'm gonna borrow from a game here called League of Legends.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a character named Yasuo, and he's basically a wind samurai. Mm-hmm. I guess you could say. Also voiced by Liam O'Brien. So you got Gaara doing this, samurai wind, and he was doing things like throwing tornadoes, making these wind walls that block projectiles. Imagine Naruto doing that.
It's kind of hard. Just like I said, I was saying his lack of arsenal in his.
Yeah.
He has what? Shadow Clone Jutsu and the Rasengan, and then summoning, I guess.
Yeah. Hey Goku, what do you got? Kaioken and a Kamehameha wave.
And the Spirit Bomb.
And Spirit Bomb, but that never works.
Yeah, and I guess instant transmission. But that never works, Spirit Bomb. And then all you have with Ichigo is the Getsuga Tensho and
Yeah, but you know how I talked, but like how I talked about with like Naruto learning like starting to study and learn those styles in part 1. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have Luffy with all these techniques for stretching his legs and arms.
Yeah. So you have him establish that he's learning the different chakras, and then 2 year skip, and then he learns wind techniques.
That would have been interesting to do. I guess that would have still been a part 1 change then, I guess.
I would have, I would have done that too.
Yeah.
Showcase that he's learning, or he's learned the wind nature.
What, did he come back from the 2 year time skip with just a bigger Rasengan?
Yeah. Like, I can imagine him having, like, a kunai, or a sword, or a dagger, or something like that, like a ninja dagger, you know? And then, like, and they're like, oh, like, Kakashi must be underground, how are we gonna get him out? Well, and then Sakura's like, I got an idea. It creates all the debris, and then Naruto's like, alright, now my turn. And then he just slams the blade into the ground, and then it kicks up a wind that causes this tornado and just shoots debris around, causing Kakashi to have to move.
Oops.
That would have been cool. I can actually picture that in my head right now.
Yeah.
I mean, like how Sasuke knew how to do it with his sword thing?
Yeah, and then, you know, like, he did with the Chidori and everything like that. And then maybe you have Naruto, like, like, you know, I got an idea. He holds his hand, he, like, does hand symbols, and then he holds his hands out, and then he creates a wind barrier, which is scientifically backed. If you have enough wind pressure, you can block objects. It's like a solid wall.
Yeah. But Naruto didn't want hand signs, or Kishimoto didn't want to draw those.
You know, that's true. I noticed that, like, in part 2, like, the hand signs, like, completely vanished after part 1.
I don't want to draw those anymore.
I think I talked about this on the Heaven and Earth forum about it. Like, the hand signs just completely disappeared. And, like, we have a brief thing where Kakashi's like, oh yeah, I got faster doing it. So I guess they're trying to establish that they're just so fast at doing it, I guess, now, or that we barely see it.
Something like that.
We can't see it. We can't comprehend the speed of which
is fine. I'm completely okay with that. If they learn how to do that really fast to the point that it's like a blur, that's fine. I'm more than enough okay with that. The fact that you just eliminate it entirely. This is not like having characters go to the bathroom. We already know they have to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
You had one scene that explained, okay, they go to the bathroom every now and then. Okay, I don't need to see it anymore. We're good.
I don't need to see it.
Where are you going, Naruto? I gotta go take a leak. Alright. That's it.
Nice.
But I still think Naruto should have had wind techniques. I really wanted to see him with wind techniques. That would wind walls, creating tornadoes. Look at what Tamari did with it. She devastated an entire forest. Imagine what Naruto could do if he put effort into it.
At least, yeah.
Didn't the one time he even display any type of thing during his Rasengan training was creating like that little wind ring or something like that? That might have just been anime only though, too.
It might have been a filler.
Yeah.
It might have, yeah.
Because I thought I remember him like kept showing the wind in his one palm and then trying to merge the two with the...
Yeah, and then as you learn, you could have Naruto get more powerful with it. Maybe he has a wind fist that he channels the nature chakra through his hand, and then he pushes, and then the air ripples.
Yeah,
with the wind.
Too much effort.
Oh yeah, but we can't do that.
Yeah.
Hey Naruto, got another technique? Rasengan. Well, that's not gonna work. Bigger Rasengan.
Sure. Let's do the
Rasengans with rotating Rasengans.
And then have.
I mean, granted, he did do some cool things with the shadow clones, but even then, I'm like, that's not what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw myself with myself.
So is this kind of merging? Because I know we're talking about the Kazekage to Pain arc. I'm guessing we're just kind of merging all these together.
Yeah, we are.
At this point, mainly just because the elemental chakra.
I was gonna say this.
This was the Kakuza arc, wasn't it?
This was gonna actually go to Sakura a little bit, but now her character start in part 2, I'm okay with. But something I would add in this, I know we're not big fans of like the stuff from the novels after the ending, but I did look into the Sakura novel because I was curious, and something that I really liked from that was how Sakura established the first children's hospital for like the war orphans. I would establish in part 2 that she like has a good connection with kids, just like right off the gate. Like maybe it was something that happened after Naruto and Sasuke and like how they interacted, and maybe that kind of pushed her to helping out like children and whatnot.
Yeah.
For part 2.
Hell, pull a Jiraiya. Have her give her rations to poor kids.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be an establishing thing. Maybe they go to a village that's been just wrecked from the war and they never recovered, and they're all poor and hungry and everything, and she's giving out her rations.
I think Boruto covers this, and that there's still people that are.
Shut up! We're not talking about that.
I know. Shut up! That's not even a thing.
It's not. No, but that's what I would do for her. Is like add in that aspect.
Yeah.
Of course, we have her with Konohamaru, I guess.
Yeah.
Some scenes with Konohamaru.
Yeah. Well, something needed to be established because these guys were pretty happy-go-lucky. The happiest ninjas on Earth.
Throw subtle hits of Narasaku in there for good measure.
Yeah. You can do that too.
Or don't if you're not planning on it.
And something that this something that always bugged me. After the Science Sasuke arc, which that entire interaction between Team 7, like when they all reunite, the biggest change I would have for that arc is actually have Naruto and Sasuke fight again. And just to drive home the point, remember like when Sasuke was like, don't you think all that time would have been better spent in training than chasing after me? I would have it to where like Sasuke like literally beats the shit out of Naruto to a point where he can't move, and then drive that point forward.
Drive that point forward.
Yeah. Because like Naruto's like, oh, I failed again. I'm like, you weren't even trying.
Which is an interesting point because that's what Naruto said to Sasuke in part 1, after Rock Lee kicked his ass.
Legit, it is.
Then Naruto's on the ground beaten and bruised, and then Sasuke comes over and goes, "What was it that you said to me? If you spent more time training and honing your skills, then maybe you could defeat me."
Yeah.
And then maybe Sasuke becomes arrogant. "I'll give you another chance, Naruto, but you better come back with full force next time," kind of thing.
You better.
Yeah. After that arc, like, you kind of have, like, Naruto, like, conflicting with himself. Like, was he right? Like, have I just been just doing nothing this entire time for 3 years?
Yeah. Well, maybe have a breakdown. What was all that 2 years for?
Yeah.
I did all this work and I'm still so weak.
Mm-hmm.
And then have Sasuke do an armor pierce to the Sakura in that same scene.
You could.
Oh, man.
Oh, look, it's the pretty little woman. You're obsessed over me, I see.
Silly woman. Yeah.
It's a good point because, like, and I got like why they had that motive like at the start of part 2, but the entirety is where I was like, that's why I feel like that's why I think Sasuke bringing up that question like should have driven that point forward, where it's like, no, maybe he's right. Like, maybe I just haven't been doing a lot. Like, maybe I should focus on being Hokage. And for Sakura, it's like, yeah, what have I been doing too? Like, I'm just worried about this one little thing.
So obsessed over your own selfish desires that you fail at being the one thing that you're trying to be.
Now the other thing that comes from that arc is that we didn't really get like a full blown like conclusion to the whole Naruto hurting Sakura a bit when he was going four tails. That I thought was like big. I was like, that's a pretty big deal for Naruto. If I were him, I would have just kept my distance and be like, shit, I lost control and I attacked the one person I cared about the most.
Yeah. And then have a moment of Sakura going, why do you keep avoiding me?
Why?
And then have Naruto just break down and be like, because I don't want to hurt the people I love ever again, and then walks away. And that's how you do it. You have Naruto break down. Now the naivety is gone. Now he's facing the real world. Now he has to live that this is what is real. It was great when you were a kid because you had all these ideals, but now the real world hits. Like what happens in real life. As a kid, I want to be a firefighter. No, I want to be a police officer. No, I want to do this. I want to be a doctor. Then you grow up and you realize that takes some work.
It does.
You can't just instantly be something that you want. You have to work for it. And it's all about relationships. And same with relationships. You have to work for it. It's not just like, it's sex, rainbows, and sunshines, and candies, and everything's always romantic, and we don't have to worry about anything ever again. Wrong. Real relationships have to work. You have to work at it. So you need to have Sasuke be like throw at Sakura like you think you care so much about me, but here's the thing, I don't really give a shit about you.
I don't care.
Yeah. And then, and I would love to see Sakura have a scene with Ino about it, too. Have them actually be best friends.
Yeah, like maybe you could showcase, like, after part one that they're close again.
Yeah. No, Sasuke is a fine man, but Naruto's a fine man, too. Shut up.
Shut up, man.
So many things you could have did. It's just
so many.
Establish the characters, break them down by showing them what the world actually is, and then have the characters adapt to the world that they're in. That's what should have happened.
I would say if you want to drive home the point forward, have it to where, like, maybe Naruto hesitates about fighting because of that whole situation with the Four Tails.
Yeah. Maybe Sasuke does that. You're hesitating. You're not really trying, are you? No, because I don't want to kill you. Well, if you don't try to kill me, you're going to die. Then your weakness will be your downfall. Ting!
It will be your downfall.
There's another missed opportunity, and this goes for the entirety of part 2. The Uzumaki clan itself, like, no relevancy whatsoever.
It's mostly for Karen's benefit than Naruto's.
Yeah, and then I talked about this with the other guys in the other podcast, but I would have had an arc between the end of the Saiyan Sasuke arc and the Hidan and Kagezu arc, focusing on like maybe like something regarding like the Uzumaki ancestry. Like maybe it's where Naruto wants to learn about like the whole issue of being a Jinchuriki and like why the Nine Tails was sealed inside of him. Maybe that's where you could bring up his mother and what happened to the Uzumaki clan.
Yeah.
And for cool interaction purposes, not even that, but just for character stuff too. You could have to where Jiraiya comes back and takes him on to the ruins of, what was it, the Land of Whirlpools, I think?
That Uzumaki hut.
Yeah.
What if it was Naruto's house? Old house. Instead, what if they made it Naruto's old house? Where he was born?
You could.
I don't know, rip off from Harry Potter on this one. Have it him go back to the old house where he was born, where his parents lived, where they had everything. Maybe find a destroyed picture of his parents, And then when his mother actually does show up, instead of having this like, oh, it's the Nine-Tailed Fox to like tricking me and everything, and then she does the,
Yeah, and I would put those in there too. Not there.
Or actually, you could still do that if you wanted to. Have him be like that. Like, no, this is a trick. You're trying to. Someone's trying to confuse me. The Ninetales is trying to get me weak. It's not the Ninetales.
It's a trick.
Well, and I think this works out well having Jiraiya there because it gives Naruto and Jiraiya like more time together before he ends up dying.
Oh, you mean Jiraiya can actually be a godfather? What?
Jiraiya?
Yeah. And it gives Sakura like another reason to learn more about Naruto, about his ancestry, and also throw Karin in there too. Where she's there to like visit like the gravesite of of her parents because she just happens to do that. But I wouldn't reveal that that she's with Orochimaru and Sasuke.
Yeah.
Like I would have it to where where Naruto sees her and he's like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just here to visit my parents."
I just have a great idea.
What's up?
Great idea.
Could you imagine if, even at the beginning of part 2, when you had like Naruto and Sakura interacting, right? And you know how he does like Jiraiya, like kind of like he's still so young, he just doesn't understand women at all, kind of thing, right? Imagine another moment where Jiraiya goes, "If you were waiting for the opportune moment, that was it."
You idiot.
There's so much you could have did with it, but imagine like hinting at Tsunade and Jiraiya's relationship that never happened, that he wanted to happen, and then like Naruto could be like, well, why? How would you know? You never loved anybody like that, and Jiraiya could be like, who says I didn't?
That's true.
And then you have that idea that that thought of him thinking of Tsunade and understanding that he never got the chance to be with her like he wanted to, because we already got that hint.
We did.
Maybe actually to have Jiraiya be, I don't know, a father figure. Hell, you could have Ruka do it if you wanted to, which he kind of like fell into obscurity.
I thought he was a brother. I thought they made that establishment, which is why everyone
did. Yeah.
Everyone was pissed at Naruto's wedding that he chose him to be his father figure.
Yeah. He's the backup dad.
Backup dad. But no, I mean, what? It didn't really show. They showcased it after the fact. The time skip. Well, when Jiraiya's death, they showed everything that him and Naruto did, or some crap like that. But it was a lot of off-panel things.
Oh yeah, like the time that Hinata comforted Naruto over Jiraiya's death. Oh wait, but she was always there for him.
Always. Even in those memories from part 1.
Anyway, I'm losing track on this one.
No, what I was also going to add is that like maybe one of Karin's parents could have been like, I don't know, Kushina's like sibling.
She finally meets someone of his clan. They're cousins.
No.
No, because like throughout the entire series, we're led to believe that Naruto doesn't have any family. That he's the only one. And Karin just says that like, yeah, I'm just here to visit my parents. You're not revealing that, yeah, like they're directly cousins, but there go. Okay.
Yeah, would be nice.
It would.
I really have to wonder, and I don't know if it's just me. Maybe it shouldn't have been a rivalry between the Uchiha and the Hyuga. Maybe it should have been a rivalry between the Uchiha and the Uzumakis.
I thought it always was, but maybe you're talking about for strongest clan in the village?
Well, you know how the Hyuga were always trying to compete with the Uchiha?
Yeah, because the eye power crap or whatever.
Yeah.
Optically, our eyes are better.
I can see. I can fight. Yeah, but imagine if I don't think there was any real establishment between the Uzumakis and the Uchiha.
Other than maybe what the sort of. Well, no, it was the Senju and the Uchiha, which the Senju and the Uzumaki were close relatives or some crap like that.
Married into it.
Yeah, so Naruto is essentially a Senju descendant.
Who needs to be blood relation when you're a reincarnation?
In your reincarnation, yeah. Ah, ancient aliens.
Ninjas on the moon.
Ninjas
Yeah.
on the moon.
Ninjas on the moon. Anyone gonna ever explain how the moon had, even if it was an artificial moon, how it had enough oxygen? Or is this Jimmy Neutron logic where there is oxygen in space, or there isn't, and they can just naturally breathe in space? Naruto Beach Goku.
I was also thinking because the Akatsuki have the whole situation with them sealing tail beasts, maybe one of the members goes over there. That they're learning stuff from them.
Well, an actual spy would have been legit neat if it weren't for the fact that it was Kabuto, or not Kabuto, but what's it called? No, it was.
Sasori?
Well, yeah, it was Sasori, and then it was supposed to be Orochimaru's sidekick. Was it Kabuto? No.
Yes, it was Kabuto. He was supposed to be the spy. But
Yeah.
then Orochimaru knew that he was the spy the entire time, and it was just kind of like,
Ugh.
it doesn't really matter, but I can show you better stuff. And then Kabuto was like, take me.
Would still have Orochimaru be a lot more prevalent in part 2, or do you guys think, or at least in the first half, or did you guys think like it was fine for what he had?
For what? Orochimaru? Or
Yeah,
for...
like in the first half of part 2.
Well, I mean, to establish him as like this really absurd villain, only to, shy away from that in part 2 kind of sucked.
I was underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Sasuke kind of just doesn't even have this epic battle. It's like, oh, I'm going to take your body now. No, my eyes are better than that. You're dead.
Yeah. I kind of wish...
Feel your powers now, too.
Hiruzen, right? The third?
Hiruzen, yeah.
Yeah. Sarutobi?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I kind of wish he did more to seal away Orochimaru's power, to explain why he was weakened, other than just taking his arms.
Which wasn't even really a thing, because apparently stealing bodies lets you use your arms.
Right, but if he had, maybe he put, a difficult removing seal on him,
right.
kind of thing.
With that seal guide, yeah.
Yeah, I could see him, putting some kind of seal on him like that kind of blocks Orochimaru's chakra, or makes it difficult for him.
It would have been nice.
It will explain why he was so weak and how Sasuke could beat him so easily.
I don't think it was really a weakened state, though, because again, I think, the fact of the matter was, it seems like for him, for body exchanges were every 3 years or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it would matter if he only had Sasuke's body for 3 years. Was it just to learn the Sharingan? I don't know how that works. I don't even understand anymore, now that I'm thinking about it. It's like, would Sasuke have, died in 3 years? I mean, other than the fact that he would have been dead, because Orochimaru would have been in his body at that point, but how the fuck does one even invent that jutsu?
Who knows?
What the hell are these people do? What is this, magic?
If you had the possibility of gaining an eye that can literally deconstruct chakra and have you copy it with little to no effort, I think you would want to go for it too, even if only a temporary.
Why didn't he just go after Danzo at that point? I think he knew about him. Wasn't Danzo's arm because of Orochimaru?
I believe so.
So what the hell did he need for?
Ugh. Sorry.
All those Sharingans.
I'm talking
for days. Eyes for days.
Sharingan on hand. Sharingan, I don't even know. I lost count on how many he had.
Well, yeah, he had the one in his eye, and then he had all of them on his arm.
I don't even imagine how he did that, but
yeah,
probably had something to do with political connections.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real about this. Danzo kind of was a badass,
Yeah.
and the Anbu were kind of badass. Do you think that Orochimaru, like, would have succeeded as far as he did in taking over Konoha if Danzo didn't, like, hold back?
Now that I'm thinking about it, where the hell was Danzo when Orochimaru even attacked the village?
Yeah. That's something I always found kind of strange, is that like we didn't get any mention of Danzo until the Science Sasuke arc. That was it.
Yeah.
Was it that he hid underground hoping that the third Hokage would perish? Was that what it was?
I mean, we know Itachi in part 2 does say that he came back just to tell Danzo, which
Yeah.
I guess it makes
I'm
sense.
trying to remember
Well-
what was Danzo's excuse for not participating when the Orochimaru's Sand and Sound village attacked the village. Part 1, I'm trying to remember. Honestly think he, like, fled underground or some shit like that, hoping to take
Well, they
over.
sent the Anbu to protect Sarutobi.
Yeah. They sent the Abu.
He just used minimum effort.
Yeah.
Actually, here's something I would have done with Danzo in part 1. I wouldn't introduce him in part 1, but I would like just have him there as like, say, as like one of those like background characters where you're like,
Right.
he's an interesting design. I wonder what he's doing.
Part 2 did a really good job of, like, lessening what the Hokage's role ultimately was, too.
They did.
Like, at first we thought it was like, okay, leader of the village and whatnot. Then part 2 comes around saying, no, that's the lords. And then even beyond that, there's the 2 advisors that have even more power than the Hokage himself.
Yeah.
It's like, what the point is even the hell of this position?
Well, somebody's got to do the paperwork.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Boruto.
Something else I would do in the first half of part 2 is actually have like, again, kind of like with what James suggested in part 1 with like having like the smaller moments with the characters. I would do that for like all the other teams too. Like actually show. I mean, we got a little bit of it with Team Asuma and Team Kakashi, but like showcase like more moments where like they're hanging out, like maybe Naruto, Shikamaru, and Shino are like having like a boys all night out at someone's house, and maybe Sakura's doing the same thing with Ino, Tenten, and Hinata.
This is a real sausage fest. Did you say Sasuke? No, Naruto. We did not say Sasuke. We said sausage.
Yeah.
No, I do that. Like maybe if you wanted to, you could blend the two together and like say they're like hanging out at I don't know, like at a restaurant or something.
Well, the only
And
thing I
they
remember
kind of
from
did
part-
that. They kind of did that when Sai first showed up.
Yeah. Well, that was Team 9, or not Team 9, that was Team 8.
Yeah.
Because that was the go-to team for Team 7 was always Shikamaru, Choji, and
Yeah, I always wonder, I'm like, like, the other two teams were pretty prevalent in part 1. I don't get why they were just like, let's...
Well, they did
Let's
have
move
one.
on.
It seemed like the first arc, which was the Rescue Gara arc, you had Team Guy,
Yeah.
and then the next one was the Kakazu and Hida arc, which had Team 8.
And then
And you had the
Sasuke
Sasuke retrieval or whatever. You had Team 9. So it wasn't like he didn't incorporate teams, it's just he didn't incorporate the second
yeah,
team.
like, they weren't, like, super relevant to the story.
Well, Team 9 wasn't. The other two teams actually were decent.
Team Asuma for sure, but the other two teams was like, I mean, okay, for Team
Guy did some stuff.
like Team Guy, like I think the only character that got something was Guy because of Kisame.
Kasami.
Yeah, that was
Kasami.
it.
Yeah.
What about Team Kurenai? Oh, we'll just leave it for fillers.
Yeah. Yeah, Hinata, you're here for the eye thing, and that's about it.
And squishing bugs.
Yeah.
Which Shino got very nervous.
Oh boy. Yeah. That was a pretty lame arc. I mean, that was mainly saved by the fact that it was Sasuke versus Itachi in that arc, but
And all you perverts like thinking about a naked little girl under a waterfall, you fucking perverts.
I remember when you brought that up during part 1 versus part 2.
filler.
Yeah.
For filler arc.
But yeah, like, I would have that where you see like more interaction between them to showcase that that they are indeed friends with one another.
I could actually explain Danzo pretty well for a lot of things he did.
Or didn't do.
Yeah. He was trying to showcase, like, maybe he's trying to showcase how the Hokage position was weak and superfluous.
Yeah, but didn't he want to do it himself too eventually too?
Well, again, I can explain that by saying, like, well, they want a Hokage,
Yeah.
so I'll just be Hokage since I run everything already.
Yeah.
But the Hokage is just a front. Look good.
Yeah.
Remember, Danzo and the other elders were like, we're the ones that actually do all the stuff, that things. It's not the Hokage doing it. The Hokage is just a face, basically, that we put on the mountain. Danzo made this very specific.
He did.
It's just there to look good, a representation. So Danzo's like, well, why don't we have a real Hokage with real power now? So that's why he wanted to be it.
And he had a point. That's the thing. Yeah, he actually had a point about that.
And I always saw Danzo kind of like General Zod in Man of Steel.
Oh, Zod.
True.
Because if you all remember the line, I was made to serve my people, and no matter how violent or how cruel my actions were, they were for the good of my people.
The good.
Good.
And that's basically Danzo in a nutshell. He was all about the Hidden Leaf superiority because he knew it was a powerhouse. The Leaf Village was one of the biggest nations and had the most powerful ninja in it. And I could see him wanting not only to retain that power, but for have the Hidden Leaf be the strongest nation. And then everything he did was for the good of the Hidden Leaf Village. Which is great, because it's great to have characters like that.
Yeah, too bad everyone regards Danzo as a villain.
He's an anti-hero.
Yeah, but everyone's like, Sasuke never really killed anyone who wasn't bad.
Who wasn't important.
Yeah.
Well, now you're just saying Danzo's a villain because you don't want Sasuke to be a villain.
Yep. Well, he almost killed Karen. But no one cares about that.
Oh yeah.
Something else.
A girl's love for a guy is very important. What about Karen's? What about her?
What about her? She was stupid.
What about Ino's?
She's
with Sai. Well, you know why she's with Sai? Because Sai looks like Sasuke. We've established this.
Yeah. We had Ino more broken up about the fact that Sasuke was a villain, or was, like, on wanted lists than Sakura.
I remember that, yeah.
She was, like, devastated. There was, like, everyone around her at that one, and then Sakura's like, I mean, it sucks, but, I gotta go find Naruto.
And no one bitches about Inu's obsessions.
Nope, not at all.
That's development that was wasted too.
Because she's beautiful.
Even though it was a lie.
I know.
So I called her beautiful, but he said the opposite.
Yep.
Apparently girls don't like it when I tell the truth, so I will lie to them. You're beautiful.
In the face by Sakura.
I know. Oh, Sai's not a reliable source.
Naruto's like, whew, we're saved. Looks at Sakura. Oh, never mind.
No, seriously, they'll tell you that Sai isn't a reliable source.
Here's something I would also throw in for rewriting the first half of part 2. Remember the moment in the Kage-san Summit arc when Sai remembers that conversation that he had with Naruto.
Mm-hmm.
I would have that after the Uzumaki ancestry arc. Like, have it to where they come back, they're talking. Sakura is saying that she has to go see Tsunade for whatever reason. Maybe.
Yeah, we know what you're talking.
Maybe because of that. And then you just have Sai bring up that moment. Like, you smiled around Sakura a lot. Is it because you like her?
He wants her sweet gams.
I just wanted to see her smile.
It's got what it takes.
Sorry, I don't think you understand. I'm only doing this for a rivalry.
And I was gonna say, like, I remember when I first saw that flashback, I was like, "That's cool," but did that actually happen? Because I had to go back and check. I was like, "Huh, it's not there."
I don't know if you know this, but I don't know if Sasuke actually does love Sakura, but I'm trying to win her heart so I can beat him at something.
And then we got the famous line from Sai, which he kind of insults himself, but also admits something. Even I can tell that Naruto really loves you.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently is a lie too, but
Oh, we don't know if Naruto's in love with Sakura. Sai, who's an emotionally dead person inside, who's trained not to have any emotion, says, even I can tell.
Even him.
Unreliable source. Unreliable.
What are some things you guys would change for the first half of part 2, outside of what we've already said?
First half, it didn't actually have money problems. I mean,
I would say the Great Snake Escape. I wouldn't work that around.
Non-Sasuke-related problems.
James' favorite one.
Non-Sasuke-related problems. Sasuke was a big problem in part 2 in general, so that's kind of hard to fix.
What about Toby?
Changing everything.
Would there be anything Toby?
Here's what I kind of would change in part 2. And it encompasses everything. Switch Obito and Sasuke. Make Obito be a villain early on. Okay?
Like instead of him goofy?
What's up?
Like instead of him being goofy?
Are we talking about Toby here still though?
Yeah.
You want Toby to just immediately either be Obito, or you just want him to literally be like his Madara persona?
No, I want him to be like an Akatsuki, remember? Like he is. And then they fight, and then you find out that it's Obito. But instead of having this long-winded battle of him, I got a hole where my heart should be, blah blah, I die when Rin died, that kind of thing. Don't have that. Just have like Kakashi, like, oh, I'm gonna kill this guy. I'm gonna kill him. And then you go, Obito, and then Obito's like, does like, God damn, and then he runs away.
Yeah.
And then you have Kakashi be like
Obito.
Struggle with it, I gotta go save my friend. I can't believe that he's alive. I thought he was dead. And then you have Obito in the background in the story, kind of like what Sasuke is, where he's just like struggling on to do stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then you have all this stuff of him going to different villages and all that stuff, learning different things, learning the truth. Maybe Kakashi goes after him, in one thing, and then Obito leaves, and then Obito disappears for a while, kind of like what Kabuto just up and disappears for a while,
Yeah.
And Sasuke is the one who initiates the war, and Obito is the one that comes in and joins the alliance and fights against them.
That would be interesting.
And you could keep some of the same scenes into it, like Obito dying, him stealing the tail chakra, because maybe he's been studying it like Kabuto does. Maybe he's been planning all this, I have an army that's going to take out all the villages. Damn it, that was my plan.
No!
Daddy, no! But, like, I just thought to myself, like, if you twerk it a bit, tweak the stories like that, I think you could have Sasuke actually be the villain and switch Obito with him, where Obito is the one that's on the fence, and he wants to get his revenge, or he wants to get that satisfaction and everything like that. And then, you have Obito join forces, and then you could say, well, he was actually the coolest guy because maybe he does some things to actually warrant Naruto calling him that. And instead of just like this, I'm a villain through and through until the very last second. Or like Sasuke, I'm a good guy through and through until the very last second. But I really think that Obito and Sasuke should have traded places on this one. And just have, like, maybe Madara actually pick up Sasuke instead of Obito at a dying breath. And then have Kabuto work with Sasuke to do this whole thing, and then have Obito be the Uchiha Naruto that comes in and tries to stop it and help, and then dies in the process, and forget the whole, I'm going to come back and give Kakashi my eyes. No, we're not doing that. We're getting rid of that entirely.
Not at all.
That is a good suggestion. No, you've brought that up a few times too.
Yeah. I really think it would have made the story stronger. I think it would have made Obito a better character. I think it would have made his reveal better. Especially if he was, again, like you said, like if you just drop some hints there and there. You don't have to, like, be heavy-handed. You just drop, like, okay, that's that. There's that. Okay, and then we're going to world build it.
Yeah.
You could have even Kakashi explain the story. Well, I had these two comrades in my past, and they both died, and I failed them, so I'm trying not to make the same mistakes. And
actually, that you could have Kushina bring up something too, like, yeah, there was another, there was a guy on your father's team. He kind of started off that way too, kind of like not reveal that it's Obito, but like to say, yeah, I told him that I kind of I wish our child was like him.
A line from Obito. Yeah, you Naruto, you're just as naive, just like your father. How do you know my father?
How do you know me?
How does Dad know this Obito guy? Oh, it was student and teacher. What? Yeah, your father taught him. and then Kushina could explain to Naruto, this is what happened. Or you don't even need Kushina to do it. Have Kakashi explain it.
You could definitely do something like that.
Give Kakashi more to do than just be eye candy.
Yeah.
And that's a double pun, by the way. Because I pass around my candy, But, like, make a relationship stronger between Naruto and Kakashi. Again, it's building up this relationship with Naruto because Naruto is supposed to be the newer generation. He's the one that's supposed to succeed where the past have failed. Well, tell Naruto all about all the failures of the past and why it didn't work. And then Naruto knows how not to do it, so he's going to try something else.
Yeah.
It's little stuff like that. And then you can have this big monologue towards the end where Naruto's like, I've seen and heard so many things. And then you have like flashbacks, like maybe, it's Minato's team with friends become enemies. This become this. Lives that get destroyed. People that are killed. And yet no matter through all that darkness and sadness, I still believe that there's hope for this world. And I'm going to find it. And I'm going to bring it out in people. Because that's my ninja way. That's what you could have had. And boom. Right there. Naruto is instantly a better character. Instead of this, Sasuke, look, I don't want you to do this. But I can't change your mind just by talking to you. I'm going to have to show you. So I'm going to show you why having hope and faith is better than hatred and revenge.
I'ma show you.
The idea I had for that, this would be during the Five Kage Summit, which there's a lot I'm going to change about that too, but I'll get the Sasuke thing out of the way first. So, because Naruto's already established as a hero after the Pain arc, I wouldn't have him hyperventilate, cause I mean, look, people keep saying, "Oh, the pairing is what ruined the series." No, for me, it was that moment right there. I was like, we went from being the hero of the leaf to now I'm gonna be on my knees. I'm gonna hyperventilate because Sasuke. What I would do is showcase that like Naruto still got that hero-like quality to him. He tells the Raikage, "Look, I know Sasuke's situation. I know what he's going through. Let me be the one to confront him." And when that confrontation actually happens, Sasuke does what he does. Naruto could be like, "Look, I get what you've gone through. I just went through it." And maybe you could have Sasuke like, "Yeah, you just went through it. You don't know how long I've been dealing with it for the past." How old was Sasuke? Like 6 when the Uchiha massacre happened, or was it younger than that?
I don't know, something like that.
A while ago, but you could have something like that, and maybe you could have Sasuke like declare that, "Look, I don't care. Everybody in the village is gonna die, whether you like it or not."
Oh no.
And then
That's just the way life is.
Yeah, and then maybe you could have Naruto be like, "Look, if you want to channel all that anger out on someone, channel it on me. Attack me all you want, but you attack the people I care about, I won't hold back. Stop it. Not necessarily kill them, but just say, look, if you do this, just know things won't end well."
I don't fight for myself. I fight for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I fight for my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you think about that, James?
Yeah, I can see it.
We believe.
Maybe even have Sasuke go to the nth degree about it, even more. People of this world don't respect it, so they don't deserve a world at all.
No, you could definitely do that.
Yeah. And have Naruto be like, "You're right. We don't deserve anything. We're a selfish species. It's all about, fulfilling our own desires and fighting over trivial things. But that doesn't mean there can't be good in the world."
Yeah.
And I see that good in you. Well, then you misplaced your faith. Maybe. But at least I have one.
At least.
And so I have to do what I have to do, and then they just get ready to fight. Because we want Naruto to establish that he can't control everything. That the world isn't that simple.
No, it isn't.
But the plot plays it like it is that simple. Oh, if I just tell you how I believe in love strong enough, it'll happen. Doesn't always work like that.
Believe in love.
No, and if you wanted to, because we already kind of established a Naruto versus Sasuke fight in the Science Sasuke arc, to where Naruto got the shit beaten out of him, maybe you could have like another smaller fight in the Five Kage Summit arc, showcase that they're kind of even, mainly due to Sasuke being, a bit worn out because of all the shit that he pulled.
Everything.
Ooh. I just had an interesting ending idea.
What's up?
So, the final villain of the manga?
Yeah?
The final villain should be Madara. And then Kagura could be the movie.
I always thought that.
But could you imagine how Madara is defeated by Sasuke finally understanding the teachings because Madara betrays him, and then it finally clicks with Sasuke, and then Sasuke has a moment of, "I will not die a monster," kind of thing.
Kind of like Doc and Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, but instead of him actually dying, it's actually ambiguous. So it's sort of like the X-Men ending with Jean Grey, where she sacrifices herself like that, and they all think that she's dead, and then you see Naruto, and because now he has that sensory type, he goes, "I think an old friend is about to make a return," and then you just see it's like a couple years later, and then like you see Naruto in the office doing something, and then he pauses and he like looks out the window, and they're like, "What's the matter, Naruto?" And he just smiles and goes, "I think an old friend is gonna stop by and say hello." And then that's the last panel. Is you just see Sasuke standing on top of a tree, looking over the village like Naruto did in the beginning of part 2.
That would be interesting.
And then that's it. And then you go into the movie.
Whoosh.
And then you establish that Sasuke, you know, wants to help and everything like that with the village. And then you could talk about the relationship that he had with Karen and how they have a kid or are starting to have a kid and everything like that. And then you bring Kaguya, who wants to blow up the world now, you know? Maybe Toneri is working with Kaguya to bring her back to life, and then he wants to blow up the world.
You could do something like that.
And then you have the Team 7 moment, and then you have them standing there like Team 7 fights again, you know?
Interesting.
That's how I would do it anyway. That ending play like that. I'm really trying to rewrite the entire part 2.
Yeah, I could actually see that working out pretty well. The other thing I would do for the 5 Kage Summit arc is, I wouldn't say have Sakura's feelings for Sasuke like completely diminish afterwards, but I would actually showcase like her and Sasuke having a fight, kind of like what Storm 3 did, where you actually had that little moment where she did fight Sasuke, and I don't know if I would have her hesitate to kill Sasuke like she did in the manga. Maybe have like a good attempt on it, but actually no. There's a way I can actually see that working out. So let's say she hesitates, right?
Mm-hmm.
But instead of just showing that famous scene in part 1, like I would still have that, but I would have another moment before that. That other moment being the bench scene.
She throws the bench at him.
Yeah, like no, I thought about this, and I mentioned this in the other one too, where I was like, maybe that could be like her other reason. It's like because she thinks about that conversation she had with Sasuke when we know it was really Naruto, and maybe that's the other reason why she holds on to that belief is because she thinks he's the one who said that and not.
That's an interesting idea.
I thought about that.
We can even again take that a step farther. Let's have a Narasaka scene out of it. Let's have Ino and Sakura talk about it, and Ino maybe ask Sakura, you and Naruto have really been hanging out with each other. Are you sure there's nothing between you two? What are you talking about? And then like maybe she's walking home after that, and then she comes across the bench, and then she sits down on the bench, looks and imagines Sasuke, and then she sees Sasuke smile while on the bench, and you realize that's not how Sasuke smiles, that's how Naruto smiles, and then it clicks that Sasuke on the bench wasn't Sasuke, it was Naruto.
So you would have that moment like after the 5 Kage Summit arc?
I don't know. Maybe in that week downtime, we could have it there.
I could see it.
It's just a off moment of it. Maybe you show how Sakura's in turmoil about it, and then she wants to go to Ino like, hey, can we talk? Because they're about to go into war. You want to get everything out of the way first.
Yeah.
In case something happens, and then you have this moment, and then Sakura's walking, kind of like what Naruto did with Jiraiya when he died, and he was kind of just sulking, kind of thing. But he came to a realization about it, of things, something like that. But for Sakura, then she goes to that bench where they sat. She thinks about it. She relives the memories, and then that's when it finally clicks that maybe she's in love with Naruto, not Sakura, or not Sasuke. Sorry. And then really, really drive it home right when the scene where Naruto dies.
Yeah.
Really drive it right then. That this is where you establish it. She's in love with him. She doesn't want him to die. And because it's always those kind of moments when you realize you're about to lose something is when you fully appreciate it. And that's where I could see. That's where you establish that. Then you don't need to do this whole thing at the end of the manga where it's ambiguous and oh my god, look at this and blah 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 blah. Yeah, no, we don't need that. We've already established all that.
We have.
We just needed that final nail in the coffin. A kissing scene between Sakura and Naruto and saying, when this is all over, we're redoing all of this. You know? And then he smiles and says, you got it, and then they go back to fighting. Then you have Sakura, then you have the fight between Naruto and Sasuke occur, and then Sakura, maybe takes a swing at him, misses, blows up the ground, or whatever you want to do, right? Maybe she tried to, sneak attack him.
Yeah.
And then you can have Sasuke knock her out or whatever you want to do. I know it's still kind of bullshit, but let's be honest, we need Sasuke and Naruto to fight one-on-one.
We do.
And then when you have them beaten to a bloody pulp and they're weak and maybe they don't have their arms blown off, well, we're not going to do that because I thought that was stupid too. Right when they're weak and everything, then Madara comes back to life and says, you all played right into my plans. This was all my idea. You could pull an Aizen with it. Really? How was this all your plan? Well, not everything. Some things will rely heavily on luck a little bit. Hell, you can even have Black Zetsu in this. You can have Black Zetsu help Madara and everything like that, and then again at the end of the manga, establish that, maybe he looks up at the moon and goes, is it time now, mother, or something like that, So you go into the movie, so you give the manga an ending, but then you go, okay, there's one more story to tell, and we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
That's going to be the movie. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Yeah. So we have that, and then you have Black Zetsu, or you make make it seem like Black Zetsu died, but then he actually didn't. Maybe he survived somehow. Same with Sasuke. Seems like they died, but they're actually still alive. Some people can call it a cop-out or a cheat. I don't care at this point. It's all about making a good written story. And then you leave these cookies at the end of the manga to establish that there's going to be a movie. And we knew there was going to be a movie 2 years before the ending of the manga, so it's not like we didn't know. Yeah. But then you have these little cookies that go, okay, this is what the movie's going to be about. It's a sneak peek. What's the movie going to be about? Well, look at all the little clues that happened in the end of the manga. Really, there was clues like what? Well, what do you think Black Zetsu is doing? What do you think? Why is he looking up at the moon? What does this mean? What is that? And then you're like, huh. I wonder what it's going to be. Why did he call the moon Mother?
That would work perfectly, actually.
Yeah.
Here's my little twist on this whole thing. I would actually have the 5 Kage seminar to be the end of part 2.
Be the end of part 2?
Yeah, because and if you think about it, it kind of works well with how part 1 ended. Because at the end of part 1, Naruto goes off training with Jiraiya. Part 2... at the end of the 5 Kage 7, Naruto goes off to Turtle Island.
Do you think there should be another time skip?
Yeah. What I think should happen is everyone's prepping up for war, and then part 3, the war arc actually starts a year and a half ahead from that moment.
How long a time skip?
Well, 1 year and a half. So Naruto would be 16 at the end of part 2?
Well,
16, 17?
He was turning 17. He was turning 17 at the end of the war arc, so...
Yeah. So I would have him say at least...
He's 19 in the movie.
Yeah, he'd be 17. I wouldn't even have the first chapter of the war arc open up with Naruto. I would showcase, okay, what's been going on with the war for that time span? And the character we follow is Konohamaru.
And make the war last a couple months. Instead of 2 days.
Yeah, I thought, okay, let's introduce Konohamaru as the character we follow, get his insight on what's been going on in the war for that year and a half. And it actually works well because it would give Naruto actually a better legitimate reason on him having a good grasp at the Ninetales chakra.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it fits well with Sasuke too, given that he had surgery on his eyes.
I still want Naruto to have his father's technique.
Yeah. Maybe he has that too. But, Konohamaru's there. He's letting us know what's been going on in the war. he's maybe dealing with an opponent that he's not exactly too skilled at, and then the first chapter ends with Naruto showing back up with the cloak, and he's like, "Hey, what I miss?" Like some super powerful technique, and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" That's how I thought the war arc should open up anyway. But what do you guys think?
Have Sakura hug Naruto when he comes back. Why not?
Yeah. Instead, we got what? The sorry. Sorry for what?
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. What the fuck? No! No, you don't just take all that back.
Sorry.
You don't just tell a girl that the whole time you're useless and annoying. Yeah, sorry. You don't just take back just stabbing her in the heart with your own hand. Yeah, sorry. You don't just fucking do that.
Oh man, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Fucking people.
I don't know exactly how I would have the war arc play out with that scenario, but and you know this whole running joke with Shino of how they left him behind.
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe just to break people's hearts, he does something badass in the war, and he sacrifices himself.
Yeah, I know we always talk about that.
I'm going to squish you like a bug.
What I think, and this is what I always thought was a missed opportunity, is that we never had Naruto, Kakashi, and Sakura interacting with. We had Sakura and Kakashi interacting with Zabuza, but Naruto was never there. So I would have that. Have Naruto actually be present when he sees Zabuza again.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't skip that fight.
God, copy from you, Hakusho. Just Yusuke kept disappearing for months or years on end.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the tournament, right?
Yeah.
Like how long? Like that was like a week, a month, something like that.
I think so. Maybe 2 months. It was a while. I know that.
I mean, it was a lot longer than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho. It takes us 2 months to do a tournament. Naruto. Oh, it takes us 2 days to do a war. In fact, you know what? The war should have had more Akatsuki members. Like they shouldn't just taken out every single Akatsuki member like that. They actually should have had some of them be generals.
That would make sense.
You know, like maybe not all of them. Okay, like Sasori gets taken out. Sasori gets taken out before the war. Deidara gets taken out before the war. They brought him back anyway, so you know why not do this? You know, Deidara gets taken out before the war, and you can have them come back as Edo Tensei if you really want to, I guess. You know, but then have like Kasami. Maybe not Pain. I think Pain should remain the Pain arc as it was because I actually really liked the Pain arc. Save for maybe Hinata's confession, but I have an idea for a rewrite of that. But so have Pain do that with the Pain arc. Who was the other members?
There's Conan, and actually that's something I would do for Conan. I would actually have her survive and have her join the war.
Yeah, and I think she should fight Naruto. I think she should have been the one to fight Naruto. And then actually her switch sides. You know, especially with Pain. You know,
right?
Maybe give her a false sense like, oh, Naruto killed Pain. It was the last remaining of my friends, and you just killed him, and then now I want your head, kind of thing. And then have Naruto explain what Pain said to him, and then she changes.
Right.
He won't kill her. He won't kill Conan. And then she fights. Maybe she tries to take out. Who do I want to say here?
Well, who would she fight? would it be fake Dadra or the reincarnated Dadra? Even though I think he was already taken out in the fight. Paperverse explosion.
Maybe fights Kisame?
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
She didn't really have much.
No, she didn't.
Yeah.
Paper.
Oh, on paper she was awesome, but
On paper, she sounded great.
Oh, here's another one I would do. Sakura versus Chio.
Sakura versus Chio.
Easy. That one easy.
Well, we did have Tsunade versus Dan. Or, I don't even know if it was a verse moment there or not, but...
No, I think it would work, because, like, if you remember what Chio said about... told Sakura about, like, what was that? About saving someone you really care about versus an old guy like me. Maybe that could come back into play during that fight.
We're basically establishing that part 2 had a lot of issues, especially around the war arc.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where most of the rewrites are going to occur, is around that time.
Yeah.
Stupid reincarnation bullshit.
Yeah, we're going to get rid of that.
How do you even make that jutsu work? Damn second Hokage did everything.
Oh yeah, the reincarnation.
How do you bring someone back from the dead like that?
Hyperventilating didn't destroy Naruto. That definitely complained.
Well, there was 2 reincarnations. There was the zombie one, essentially, and then the Pain version.
I mean, okay,
I mean, I can at least buy Pain's version, maybe.
Okay, the Rene Tente I could actually see working. So
just because it's considered God's eye is what it's, I guess, labeled as or translates to. I don't know. God's eye, anyway. But I don't know how you develop a jutsu that revives someone by killing someone. And I always say this every time, I think, whenever we have these discussions. Or maybe I don't, and I only talk about it for the whatever part we're talking about.
That's a real existential crisis right there.
Oh, no.
Especially how Obito did it, like, alright, I got these 2 guys. Alright, take the guy's body I just snapped, put it in the other one.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, like, wait, I was here, then I died, now I'm over here. What the hell?
What happened? You killed me, you bastard!
That scene was pretty brutal, I have to say. It's just like, alright, we're gonna test it on this.
Whoa! And then we had all the white Zetsus. It's like, what the heck was this for?
Especially one particular one that wanted to know what it was like to poop.
Yep.
Yeah, they
couldn't even ask a better question, like, what's it like to be inside of a woman? I don't know. I never got a chance.
I never had a chance.
Let's ask Kakashi.
Oh man. So wait, are we still in part 1, or are we kind of like co-merging part 1 and part 1 of part 2?
No, we're talking about part 2.
Well, I know we're talking about part 2, but I mean, are we in part 2 of part 2, or
we are in part 2?
Because it feels like we've been like going on and off about certain aspects.
No, we're going into the second half of it now.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to establish that part 1, like, was supposed to influence part 2, and it wasn't.
Yeah. It wasn't a move, but yeah. Well, I don't understand how Pain destroys the village, and then Sasuke wants to destroy the village.
Simpsons did it.
I'm gonna destroy the village. Too late, it's already destroyed, Sasuke. What do you mean?
Yeah, like, if you notice Sasuke's like, I'm on my way. Tobi's like, we're going to the summit. We go summit. You know,
right? I'm gonna get my...
This is almost as dumb as Zamasu's plan. I hate humanity so much I want to kill them all, but doesn't killing them all just send them all to heaven anyway?
Yeah.
So you're not really killing them, you're just relocating them.
Relocating all of humanity.
That entire future Trunks saga is like, it had like a great concept behind it, and it actually started off well. That second half, though, I don't know what happened.
Yeah. It makes sense if you don't think about it.
Never use timelines, kids. Never use timelines.
This is why you don't have time travel as a narrative. It's meant to be used as a what-if scenario.
Unless you're DC and you have your characters just, zip out into...
I mean, look, there's also Endgame too, which can be weird. Endgame can be kind of weird too.
Quantum physics, my friend. Quantum physics. Didn't you know shrinking down will take you through the timeline?
Although that would be a funny thing in Naruto story.
Shrinking down and going back in time?
No, Alright, so you know how Minato's time-space jutsu?
Uh-huh.
Imagine that has somehow fucked up.
Oh,
and you end up going back in time.
Going back in time.
Oh no, I gotta get my mom and dad to the prom so they can have me.
Yeah. Oops.
And then have Minato punch out Sasuke's dad.
Yeah.
Dinkleberg. That's the first thing we're
Dinkleberg.
That's where my first went.
I think part 2 established that Kishimoto had no idea what he was talking about with the Sharingan by having it be like a literal, oh yeah, once you activate it, you have like this weird pheromone that enacts with your brain that makes you love people more by hating them, or something like that.
Actually,
pheromones.
This is like something else I thought about too, but for the other characters,
my eyes cause my brain to malfunction.
You could implement those other characters like during like training sessions and whatnot.
They love too much.
Kishimoto with the Mass Effect logic.
The Uchiha love too much.
Hey, I heard you're gonna be killed by synthetics in thousands of years, so we made synthetics to kill you so you don't get killed by synthetics. Hey Sasuke, we know you love people too much, so we gave you this eye ability that if you love too much and you lose everything, you get more powerful eyes. So you hate people more.
Yeah. You go on a blind hatred. Pride in someone else. Too bad it's overshadowed by all this unyielding rage.
Yeah. Which is even more bullshit because what Parent fans don't realize is that Sasuke activated some of his strongest eye abilities when it looked like Karen was about to be killed.
Or Naruto. Or his brother.
True.
Guess who he didn't activate him with? If Sakura was dying.
I wonder who.
No, he just got his weird teleportation thing that we still have no idea how it works.
Oh, it's a kinetic reversal.
Yeah. Well, you see, if I use my attack and then switch places with it, all I'm doing is, attacking myself.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine just what would happen is instead of Sakura's vest, he just switched places with Sakura?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for the save. Bye!
Boop! Get back here!
Sasuke? What, Naruto? Where's Sakura? Who? Sakura. You know the third member of our team? I don't know what you're talking about. Sasuke. Alright, I left her in the desert. Why did you leave her in the desert? Well, I don't think we need her anyway. Sasuke? Fine. Come here, Obito. There, Naruto. You happy?
Yeah.
What the hell, Sasuke? Oh, don't you start with the sand of your vagina thing. Bullshit.
That's funny.
Oops.
You're useless anyway. Your vest provided more help for me than you.
Yeah. Sufficient enough. Sufficient.
Can't believe that bullshit. Did you thank Sakura for saving you, Sasuke? Why?
Why?
Good question. Why?
Well, what kind of cringe is that? Go thank him.
He's
You better go thank him. Go thank her, Sasuke.
Yeah.
Go thank her.
Don't worry, he smirked at her once when she was using her, Full power.
Oh,
Sink! Sasuke, what the hell? You said Shanker. No, I said thank her. Oh, well, I heard Shank.
Yeah.
I definitely heard Shank. You all heard Shank, right? He said
Or when-
thank. No, you keep saying Shank.
When he was gonna cleave her in two when she attacked Madara.
Yeah.
No one ever mentions that one.
But he loves her.
He was gonna cut straight through her. You see
Yeah.
how the sword works.
that was the other thing too. One thing back on the war because when he shows back up, like she's having her doubts, like it's like, what are you doing here? And then all of a sudden, after
He
Naruto,
said her name though. That was clearly an indication that he loved her. All the other people respond to him, and all he says is Sakura's name.
Yeah. The dude straight up says, I only saved you because you're standing next to Naruto.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Saved you,
What the...
but you guys were only here because you were right next to us.
I still remember when a lot of people were like, "No, Sasuke's good, guys." I'm like, "Yeah, says he's good." Yet it shows an image of Team 7 like just shattering in two. Obviously, he's good.
693 people. Chapter 693.
Nah, I was so happy when 692 came out and just confirmed. Yeah, no, fuck all that.
Fuck off.
You don't just take that back. I'm sorry. You don't just take that back.
Mm-hmm.
I see no reason why I should love her, and she should have no reason why she should love me.
Right?
And then brilliant Kakashi, who's been no help so far, goes, "Well, you don't need a reason, Sasuke." Bullshit. Yeah, do you hear that, Naruto fans? Naruto did not have a reason to love Sakura. He just did.
I know the audience won't see what I just posted, but that's what I was talking about.
No, and okay, if we're gonna bring like that whole aspect into account, here's what I would do with Hinata. Like, you could maybe start off her with being a bit shy with Naruto, but over the course of part 2, she gets confident, she talks to him, and maybe you could have it to where she sees Naruto interacting with Sakura and knowing that he's having a good time with her, and maybe gets that realization that, like, he likes her. Like, maybe, okay, you could say he confesses and she says, like, or vice versa, I should say. Yeah, you could feel like she could feel down about it, but because I'm like, look, all I want is for you to be happy.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
And maybe just to drive home the point forward, maybe she supports it.
Which, no, actually, little tangent here. It always surprises me that the Naruto fans hate Naruto with a passion, but want Hinata to be with him so badly. Which I will never understand that.
Wait, they hate him?
We hate Sakura. Then why do you want Sasuke to be with her so badly?
Well, why do you hate Naruto, guys? How do they hate him? How do they hate Naruto?
Because the only reason why they like Naruto now is because Naruto ended up with Hinata.
Oh yes.
Basically.
So, I mean, that's the only reason why. Otherwise, they don't give a shit.
Right?
And I'm sorry, you guys don't. Throughout the entire story, Naruto, I'm in love with Sakura. I love Sakura. I love this. Well, you could get over a crush. Well, apparently not for the women.
Right?
And again, it's supposed to be Naruto's story, not Hinata's. His name is on the cover. Why is a main character's name on the cover and everything, and the story is about everyone but him?
Yeah.
And why do you care about everyone else but him?
Yep.
That's one big rewrite we're gonna do in this series.
For sure.
And no. I do not want to see in the comments section of this video of people saying, "Well, you just want Narasaka to be canon in the ending." Yes, we do want that, but we don't believe that that's the only thing that needs to change.
No, there's
a lot more other stuff.
There is a lot I would change. Like, first and foremost, that ending, I would have it to be Naruto's inauguration. Like, everyone's just talking about, oh, it's the big day, it's finally happening. And I don't know who you would follow with in that chapter, but it wouldn't be. I'm thinking maybe either Iruka or maybe Konohama, one of the two. They're walking around, they're seeing people. Maybe you could have to where Sasuke shows back up to see his best friend finally being Hokage.
Maybe he sees him in that branch, like I said, all the way in the distance.
Yeah. And then the final panel is like, Kakashi gives Naruto the hat and says, "You are now the 7th Hokage," and then Naruto just waves his hand out to everyone.
And then you look down and see Sakura with Shino-chan on her shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Looking up and, yay, that's my daddy.
Shino with Hanami, or with my own Naruto.
We're just saying, because I'm tired of people saying that about us. Well, you just want Narasaka to be canon. That's all you want. No. I will say this right now. If all you changed was Narasaka being canon with the ending, it's not good enough.
Doesn't fix anything.
Yeah, it doesn't. Does it get what we want? Yeah, but that doesn't mean the story would be good. It's a step in the right direction. Don't get me wrong, but that doesn't mean it solves 100% of the problems.
No, like Narasaka being canon doesn't fix Naruto hyperventilating. It doesn't solve.
It doesn't solve Kaguya.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't solve the war arc itself.
It doesn't solve the reincarnation. It doesn't solve the ass pulls. It doesn't solve anything.
Yeah, all of them there.
It fixes the pairings, establishes a real connection, and potentially fixes Sakura's character. But you need a lot more to fix the entire series. It's more than just changing a few things here and there. It's reestablishing what the series is originally supposed to be about.
Pretty much.
Huh?
And that's the biggest bullshit out of this entire Naruto stuff, is that it lost itself. It has no idea what it's talking about now. We used to think, it's about underdogs, it's about hard work, it's about bonds, it's about this. Well, you abandoned all of that for the sake of pairings.
Well, it's not just that, but
romance.
Even if you look from a power scale, all the ninja stuff that we saw was gone.
Yeah. You turned Naruto into Dragon Ball Z.
And
congratulations.
And that's the part I thought that was really cool about Naruto. You had, that hand-to-hand combat stuff, which I really liked. And then, not to say part 2 didn't have it, but it was, very lessened.
And it's always funny to be that after Naruto ending, Dragon Ball comes back.
That's true.
I know it's not. I mean, it really is coincidental. But in my mind, in my head canon, I was like you just see basically that scene in Star Wars. You were the chosen one. You were supposed to make Shonen better, not lead it to darkness. Fine, we'll do it ourselves. And then Dragon Ball comes back. And now Bleach is making a return, and I'm like, yeah, because Naruto fucked it up.
The anime anyway.
I just really wish Naruto
making a return anyway. Which,
yeah,
honestly, that last arc for Bleach wasn't exactly that much better either, though.
Well, the first half of that final arc I thought was great for Bleach. It was once they got to the Ice Palace where I was like, okay, things are getting kind of weird.
Yeah. Hey, well, at least Kubo had an excuse.
Yeah, because I know for Kubo, he was afraid that he was going to die. So I was like, all right, I get that.
He was really sick at the time. The series was losing money, so they were going to try to cancel it. So I could see him trying to finish it all, because it's better to have an ending that's subpar or a mediocre than just to have no ending at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Damn you, High School of the Dead.
Which is something I hope that the anime actually fixes for Bleach's final season.
I don't know if they can.
Yeah.
I don't know if they will. They might. I mean, there's a chance that it might. Because I think, Kubo also...
I would hope Kubo has, notes and whatnot of what he wanted to do for the second half of the final arc. So. He's
still alive, so it's not like he's dead or anything.
Yeah.
But
he's like, oh crap, I survived. Now I have to put back in effort.
Oops.
Yeah, and unlike Naruto, at least the canon pairings for Bleach actually make some sense to them.
Yeah.
I can get why Renji and Rukia got together and why Ichigo ended up with Horihime.
Don't say that too loud. You're gonna have a lot of people. Riot!
I mean, okay, look, I shipped Ichigo and Rukia, but even then I was like, all right, look, he's had interactions equally with both girls, so either way.
Anyway.
What, you didn't want Ichi Renji happening? You didn't want Renji getting pregnant with Ichi's kid, like what they're doing with My Hero Academia?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
It's not just, well, yeah, that is one of the more popular strips for some reason.
I'm very disappointed with My Hero fandom, but that's another story for another time.
Oh, man.
Just really wanted Naruto to actually learn something.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like he learned anything.
There was no learning. There was
No,
only doing.
It was just him constantly saying, "You have to believe what I believe, or I'll beat you up." And that's what it felt like half the time. There was talking and the talk no jutsu and everything like that, but after a while, even the most hardcore Naruto fan would say, "This is kind of getting ridiculous. You just can't keep going to every single villain and going, yeah, I'm going to make a difference in the world. Well, how are you going to do that? I don't know. I'll find a way. Oh, okay. Well, then I totally trust you and believe in you. I'm going to abandon everything I know, every single experience I've had. I'm going to trust you with it." Okay, and pain wouldn't have been so bad doing that if you didn't do it every other time,
Yeah. Which, the thing I find funny when a lot of people say, "Oh, Naruto just talk no jutsus," which, yeah, he does, but I'm like, did you forget about Kakazu? Like, Naruto did straight up kill Kakazu with no moves.
Oh, man.
Although technically he didn't, because Kakashi dealt the final blow.
That's true.
But we could argue he was dying anyway.
Yeah.
Kakazu was nightmare fuel. I swear to God, he was a nightmare fuel ninja. I had nightmares about him.
8 hearts? Well, 5 hearts.
5 hearts.
With different chakras. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you manage that? That's my question. I was like, how do you manage that?
Here's a guy that's so creepy. We had to pair him up with another extremely religious immortal guy because these guys are prone to killing each other.
Yep.
Man, I would kill you if I could.
That's a whole another story you could go into, like the whole Joshine thing and get that, but
he's still alive.
Yep, he's still underground. He's still buried within all that
rubble.
Yeah,
could have brought him back too.
Yeah,
for war.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah, he technically didn't die.
He's born on the same day I was.
Oh no.
Yes.
Abandoned ship. No, I'm joking.
Abandoned ship.
It's hopeless. Abandoned ship.
Abandoned ship.
I'll be honest with you, with the way the story is now, I'm glad Narasaka didn't become canon.
You're right.
The way it is
I'd rather
now.
not have the canon and have my personal fan fiction how I want it to be done than to have that done.
Mm-hmm.
My personal fan fiction. We have fan fiction.
Yeah. And guess what, Narahina fans? You can't change a thing, because then now you're going against the canon, and you have to accept the canon for what it is.
But they like changing it. They like changing it anyway. They still like changing it.
I know, but that's the thing. It's like we can rewrite it because we know, because we can. We understand that we don't like it.
Yep.
They can't. They've spent all these years going, well, you have to accept the canon. You got to accept the canon. You got to accept the canon. Okay, well, now you have to accept the canon. We can rewrite it all we want. We have full liberty to doing that.
We do.
You guys can, because then you look like hypocrites. I mean, you can, but you look like the biggest hypocrites. Oh, so you're saying you don't accept the canon for what it is? What's wrong with it? You got what you wanted.
Yeah.
Was it not good enough? So you're saying that Kishimoto's a bad writer? No, we're not saying that. Yeah, you only really like Kishimoto right now because he made Narahina canon. That's it. Admit it.
And even then, like even if you go to like Samurai 8, like you don't have the same things that you saw from Sasusaku and Narahina. Like a lot of the stuff I saw was kind of like Narusaku scenes. Like there's a bench scene, and then there's a scene that's almost similar to the 5 Kage Summon, only this one's more mature about it. And I'm like, Huh.
It's almost like it's what he originally wanted to do.
Almost.
It was no like I don't believe I hate people who lie to themselves. No, nothing like that.
No. That's what really struck me. I was like, huh, that's interesting that he's going that side instead of...
Not only that, but if you look at the two pages side by side, it's like they're almost like copy paste.
Yeah, they are.
Even the last panel, it looks exactly like it.
Oh man.
Like, because I remember I showed that to you, and you were like, dude, that's almost identical to one.
Yeah, like I'm like, holy shit! What?
Almost identical.
No, I'm not. I'm not one for making conspiracy theories, but
And then you saw that, you're like, huh, that's interesting. He went that direction. Then
yeah, no, he did not just do that. He did not just have the dude draw that.
He did though.
I mean, I felt kind of bad that he didn't get a chance to finish off Samurai 8 the way he wanted to, but oh well.
Yeah, well. Maybe he should have written Naruto better.
Probably.
Maybe he should have written better. You mean not cave in?
Yeah, and I could still prove that Naruhina's a retcon. That was a rewrite.
Mm-hmm.
I could prove it
Immediately. 1 page?
Yeah, not even you. Just looking at him himself. Look at the damn interviews. I was trying to make Sakura better. I was trying to do this. Tried to make Sakura more heroine. I was trying to do this, but everyone kept talking about Hinata. Sounds like he wasn't even trying to do anything with Hinata, and people just kept liking her. He made a poor effort to make Sakura better, but at least he was trying to make an effort.
Yeah.
Just more than he could say about Hinata. I mean, he has an interview saying, like, I don't know why Hinata's so popular. She doesn't do anything.
When did that interview come out? Was that around Pain or was that before Pain?
Well, the one that he tried to do after.
I'm trying to remember.
Well,
That was like 2013, 2014.
Okay.
Tail end.
Tail end, huh?
Yeah, 14 was when the movie came out.
I feel like it was before then, though. I feel like that was like either right when the war started or like before that.
The series has gone on for a very long time. It's easy.
I don't know. I have to grab it again.
Yeah.
Do even any of the interviews exist anymore? It seems like no one can.
I have one final source on Tumblr that may still have them.
Okay.
I have a source.
If anybody wants to figure it out, type in sexism in Naruto, and there should be a Tumblr post in one of the search results, and it has many of the interviews where he talks about Hinata and Sakura, and talks about what he was trying to do with Sakura and what his thoughts were about Hinata's popularity. And there actually is one interview where he goes, I don't understand why she's popular. She doesn't do anything. It's in the same interview that he said that he tried to make Sakura more popular by making her more pretty.
Which wasn't
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that one.
And if you don't believe me, there's plenty of other Naruto videos where they mention this. From other, like, Retrospect Greg has, where he talks about that.
Tumblr. How you still exist is beyond me.
Twitter. How you still exist is beyond me.
I know that too.
Twitter's worse. I've seen worse out of Twitter now.
You're right.
Do you think Hinata is a sexist character? She's literally only for a man, and she now only a housewife and a mother. Curse you, English.
And there was that entire plot line too with Hinata, with her being like the head of the Hyuga clan.
Gone.
I would dive into that too for her.
The whole thing with her clan is now fixed, according to Boruto. But what did she do about it? What did she do in the whole series, to be honest?
The only thing great about Hinata is her hospital bill.
Yeah, she keeps going to the hospital.
Yeah. Boruto movie.
Hospital.
What's another thing? What's another thing? I mean, there are all the other side characters like Tenten and
I don't think I would kill Neji. I would keep Neji alive.
Keep Neji alive?
Yeah. Not only would I keep Neji alive, I probably would have the plot point that Hinata and Neji reform the Hyuga, and then Hinata steps down and allows Neji to lead the Hyuga.
That's interesting. Huh.
Would it be in her power though? Because doesn't her sister also?
Yeah, there's also Hanabi.
What?
I know, but have you seen Hanami? Like,
We know they don't
Like,
really do much with her, but
yeah, but like, have you seen her like wanting to be a leader of any kind? Like, do you?
Well, there's a lot we don't know about her. That's the other thing.
Yeah. So unless stated otherwise, I'm going to assume something.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, in the tuning exam that it was established that she was going to be the next heir. That her
Yeah,
father
but did
was
she
like,
want it?
Who knows?
Question. Yeah.
They probably raised her to want it, and then Bordeaux came out, and now it's like the exact opposite.
Well, she's doing a bang up job of now, isn't it?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Getting
now
drunk with
completely
Konohamaru.
different from then.
Wasn't there also a thing where Kiba had something for Hinata too? Or am I misremembering that?
No, they just had interactions or
What
something.
Okay.
Which is enough to establish canonicity, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Hinata. Hey, Kiba. Oh, they're fucking. Just apparently, that's all you need to establish a couple is just to be nice to each other.
I think Kurenai and Asuma could be something too that you could kind of hint at in part one.
Oh, that's a really interesting read.
I
Man.
remember going into part two. I was like, that's not exactly the thing I would pick up on from part one, but okay, that's cool.
The hell, man. And then we finally got it because I have a baby.
Yep.
That was a foreshadow to the beginning. Kurenai, as soon as she got pregnant, out. Never did anything ever again. See, there's nothing wrong with being a housewife. Nothing wrong with that at all. What is wrong, though, is when that's all you expect of people. Especially the female characters.
Mm-hmm.
If the only thing you expect them to be is a housewife, shame on you.
Legit.
It's pretty sad that I had more faith in Hinata being a better leader at the Hyuga than even her own fandom thought. But, again, that's a different story.
Jeez, the ending of Naruto due to sexism. Oh, that would have been hilarious if that actually changed, but nope.
Could have had Hinata with Kiba.
Could have.
I think it could have worked.
Established anything with it, but you know.
Hell, if you wanted to, you could have Naruto maybe tell maybe there's a great guy out there for you somewhere.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he was like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Naruto's, I like people like you. Oh, that must mean he likes her.
Kiba-kun. God, that's annoying.
Oh, God.
Did you click the computer? I don't remember if she did.
She did.
Okay.
Shina-san.
I relied more on the dub for Naruto, so when it comes to the sub, I'm like, it's a bit flat.
Well, I don't know. Sub versus dub is always weird, but I think Naruto had more emotion in the sub.
Yeah.
I didn't have to hear Kun a lot in the dub, so I was like,
Yeah, you didn't have to hear Kun at all in the dub.
Yep. No Sasuke Kun, no Naruto Kun, just Sasuke or Naruto.
But no Sakura-chan either.
That's true. Shit.
Yeah. But then you also lost the plot point of Sai mentioning like not using suffixes because you're close with somebody.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
So that kind of goes over the head. Kind of like with the other anime with haven't you heard I'm Sagamoto?
Mm-hmm.
Where he's trying to be the rich businessman and he speaks in English.
Mm-hmm.
Because rich businessmen are very cultured like that, so they learn how to speak English, and that's how it makes more sense in the sub than it does in the yeah. They made it. They changed the meaning of the scene, which is a little disappointing, but expected.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're gonna dub something, it kind of just happens to function like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, there are those liberties that need to be taken.
You can always think of it as if
you're like listening to them through a voice box that is changing their native tongue to your native tongue. That's how I sometimes try to do it. And then you have Dragon Ball, where it makes no sense that aliens from outer worlds can suddenly speak Japanese or whatever language they speak. Everyone just speaks the same language.
I like how Team 4-Star did it. All right, then we shall use the universal language, English.
Universe.
Yeah, the Namekians were the only ones that had different language, and yet they switched back to, yeah, we'll use. How do you know Japanese?
Until you find out that way, there's actually another language that was buried somewhere within the earth. Probably was.
Yeah.
I gotta think about it.
Yeah.
Stuff.
How do you know all this?
There is no language barriers, except in Shield Hero. There was a language barrier, and they had to actually explain that one, which was pretty cool.
They did.
Konosuba had a language, but it was. The funny thing is that it didn't even matter because it's like, yeah, we're just gonna jam it all into your brain. Hopefully, you don't die when you get reincarnated.
That's one thing about the isekais that I really like. That not even Naruto does is like you have the different cultures and the different languages, and while they can figure out a practical way to translate speaking, written language is a different story.
Yeah.
So they have a hard time like reading written.
Funny because it's like often the running jokes in Konosuba is that a lot of Aqua's terrible at her job, so she sent over a lot of Japanese people. So there's a lot of Japanese text over there that no one knows how to read except for Japanese people. So Kazuma knows how to read what is considered ancient text.
That's actually pretty clever. I kind of like that.
It's like, oh yeah, this is just Japanese. What do you mean? It's just
Japanese. No big deal.
Yeah.
And then we have Naruto's explanation. I just have special eyes that could translate.
Ancient text.
Oh yeah, the tablet.
Yeah. Sasuke's the only one that can read it.
Oh yeah, the tablet.
How would that's another thing. How would we rework the tablet? Because, would you have it to where there's like multiple tablets throughout the world? That's Sasuke had to find, or...
Oh sweet God.
Well, do like we do with modern ancient language.
Modern ancient language.
I know that's an oxymoron, like I said, but as stories get told from generation to generation, it changes.
Yeah.
And the tablet, maybe the tablet that you have isn't the original tablet. It was a different tablet that somebody made. Maybe the first Uchiha made it, kind of thing. The first real Uchiha made it. This is a tablet from our ancestors that it was actually translated from another tablet that was from more ancestors.
It's from aliens, guys.
We are calling it the Bible. We're working on the name, though.
We're gonna the Bible.
Definitely work.
The great and powerful Josh.
Great powerful Josh.
Or whatever Aqua Teen Hunger Force was when they made fun of the Bible.
Man talk, the mind taker.
Harvey Bird and Attorney at Law.
Oh, good times.
Good time.
Yeah, I know, right?
All
these changes are necessary, yes.
I guess I was gonna say I would give Sakura Slug Sage mode. That's another thing I would do.
And maybe have Naruto teach her.
You could do that.
Uh-huh.
Just teach her how to channel nature chakra, and maybe it's something similar to what Hashirama had.
True. That would make sense, actually.
Does that mean we're descended? No. I still can't believe that bullshit.
What?
My own bloodline can't have my powers or abilities, But if you inject my DNA into your body, then you can have my powers.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
It's like, here, let me just cut off my arm. Here. Now.
No, it doesn't work like that. But wait.
No.
If you could do it with Hashirama cells, why couldn't you do it with Uchiha cells? Instead
No.
of taking a body, just create one.
The thing I found most ridiculous in the war is that like you could just pop an eye. Like, here, let's toss it like hot potatoes. Here. Oh, it's your turn. Cool, now I have eyes. Now it's your turn.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And the sound effects. Check this out. I'm going to juggle. Which eye am I going to use today? Which eye? There we go.
I would also change that the war wouldn't be one giant battlefield. That's the other thing I would do. Because, man, that got stale after a while.
Yeah. Could also explain why you don't see the original Konoha 11. Shikamaru to the battlefield of the north says that they're pushing the forces back.
Yeah.
Shino and Tenten in the south are saying they've held these people over here. We need to reinforce them. Compact how the war was just in that area. And we did a Dragon Ball Z thing where we're going to have a war in the middle of wasteland.
Legit. That's what...
Man, thank God nothing important blew up. Except for that one area, but, you were aiming for that.
Except for that.
Can we also admit that there was no tension in the war either? Like...
For what was equate to, I guess you could say, a ninja world war. It was lackluster.
Like, I felt more for the war that Kakashi's generation had to go through more than...
And that lasted for years!
It did!
That lasted for, 4 or 5 years? Something like that?
About.
Because you had, 2 generations get their ass kicked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it left devastation. There were smaller villages that were literally left in ruins.
Yeah.
And there were orphans, and they were just trying to survive. This is why the Akatsuki started in the first place, with Yahiko and everything. Why couldn't you do that here? Maybe that could be a plot point in Boruto, that he's going to different towns that still have been affected by the Four Shinobi War. I don't know. Oh, but, it was in the middle of a wasteland, so... no dramatics.
Yeah.
We went from espionage to people chucking moons at each other. Come on, you just nothing happens. Come on.
Yeah.
No significant changes.
That's why I think it would have been better, if say we had a time skip into the war just to see what's happened with the world since the end of part 2.
Yeah. And then all lead up to this big climax.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, you can just time skip it. You don't need to explain every aspect of the war. You just indicate that it's been going on for a while. Casualties are numerous. Not this oh look, here's the entire army. Page flip. Over 250,000 people died. Wait, what?
Oh, no.
What?
Yeah, that's the part where I was like, what?
What convenience!
The Gold and Silver Brothers. Oh, hey, we have part of the Nine-Tails, Toby. Oh, huh. Let's use that.
Yeah, and 10-10 with the ninja tools, which went nowhere.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, everyone did, including the writer.
That's true. Holy shit.
I thought, oh, we're gonna seal him in this gourd thing because it's a Hagoromo tool, or at least gonna try to maybe breaks out of it somehow. I don't know.
At least with the gourd, it would have made some sense. Okay, that's how you do it.
Oh,
come on, 10-10, Pokemon that shit. Just throw the gourd, and then Madara gets sucked into it, and then we're like, all right, if it clicks green, we're good. And then you just see the whole thing rumble, and then it shatters and breaks open. You fool! I have absorbed the power of Hagoromo. No tool can beat me. Fuck! Well, it was worth a shot.
Actually, and I think I know what also took away that tension is the fact that the Edo Tensei were like, why the fuck are we even back? We're just
Oh man.
here. Like, just put us out of our misery. I'm like, is this the war arc we've been wanting to see?
Yeah. Oh, and Genius Kabuto, I decided to keep their personalities intact. Why would you do that? Because I wanted to do psychological warfare against them. That's not how you do psychological warfare. If anything, you manipulate the personality to hate the people that they're trying to fight.
Pretty much.
Like, imagine Chiyo telling Sakura, "You're so useless. You let everyone die. You can't do anything right."
See,
But Sasuke was already doing that, so...
there, but I think that would have worked perfectly.
I mean, Orochimaru wasn't that dumb.
No, it wasn't.
He's like, yeah, I'm gonna seal the personality.
That's what added the intensity to it. You're like, shit, never mind. No, but I think I would have it to where like at least one person from each of the team members die. Maybe, like I said, I would have Shino die. I don't know if you could kill off anybody from Team Asuma, considering he already died in the Hidan and Kagutsu arc. So,
let me ask this question.
What's up
for you guys? Besides Neji, whose death, other than the main characters, that we need to survive? Okay, and we all know this one. Whose death could you whose lives could you sacrifice and still make an impact on the story?
Guy.
Anyone else?
Anyone else?
Anyone in the Konoha 11?
Anyone?
11?
Besides Neji?
Who else is there?
Because, yeah, you can kill Shino off, but people are like, no, I'll be like, who's that? You know, like, oh, he was that bug dude.
Can't kill off Shikamaru because he's meant to be Naruto's advisor.
Kill Hinata? We can't do that. Lucky Chi here wants to kill off Hinata. How dare you, sir? MangaReader, don't you agree with him?
Who else is there?
Kiba? Could kill off Kiba.
Oh damn.
You could. I don't think anybody would care.
Probably wasn't important.
Oh, you know who you could kill off? Actually, that might be an impact. Akamaru.
Oh shit!
That would be.
Think about that.
That would hurt.
That'd be a death sentence.
I'd be like, not the dog.
Boomer will live. No, I won't.
Boomer won't.
Why JoJo does it? They kill all the dogs in the series. I don't think killing Ino would do anything. Maybe Choji?
I was gonna say that. I was like, maybe Choji could go.
Oh man. Not Choji.
Not the fat bastard.
Actually, that could fit in well because some of the characters, from what I remember, were supposed to die at the end of part 1. So
yeah, the Sasuke retrieval arc.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're like, no, they're too popular to die. Damn it. I think Neji and Choji were supposed to die, right? Was that the original plan?
Which, if that happened in the war, that impact would have been a lot more. Although I was gonna say, like, I don't know how you would kill Neji off. No, you could kill him off in a satisfying way, but it's a matter of how you do it is the question.
How? How do you do this?
Definitely not as Cupid. Not going on that thing.
And definitely not to re-sanctify a fake treaty.
Was that like Ace protects Hinata?
Oh, remember they sacrificed his twin brother, or Neji's father.
Yep.
Even though it was Hinata's father that killed the guy.
Yep.
More or less.
Ten? Would you kill Ten?
That's the thing. Like the other characters needed moments throughout part 2 for that to work out.
Oh, I know who could die.
Who?
Kankuro.
Kankuro.
Oh god.
Gaara's banana.
Conqueror would leave an impact.
Especially with Gaara.
Actually, I just thought of this. You know, like how we have with the new generation, like with the new Kages and whatnot. Maybe you could have Naruto interacting with them, like you have Naruto interacting with the Tsuchikage's granddaughter. You have Naruto interacting with Darui and
Oh damn!
Yeah.
characters. Really build a connection with them.
You can have Naruto interact with anybody at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Still be an improvement.
It would.
I'm just trying to think of who I would kill off in a war.
Iruka? No.
Nah.
That would hurt.
Oof.
He already lost Jiraiya. Don't need to lose Iruka too.
Yeah.
Either Iruka or Jiraiya. Pick one to die.
Ooh.
Can't do both.
Considering that we added the Uzumaki ancestry arc where Naruto and Jiraiya bond a little bit more, I hate to say it, probably Jiraiya.
Yeah. And no clones.
Jiraiya still does, yeah.
God help you if I find clones.
Clones.
Cloning.
Who else is in Konoha 11? Why can't I think of them?
Well, who? Okay, so there's God. Well, we're talking about like just characters from Naruto age, right?
We can kill off more adult characters of the thing, but I think killing people off from his own class kind of would make a bigger impact on Naruto.
It would.
Neji I would keep alive. Shino I'd probably kill off. Choji I'd probably kill off.
Yeah. Sai? No.
No, I want him to be the new leader of Amu.
Yeah. And keep Sai. Okay, this isn't exactly from like Naruto's group of friends, but what about Jugo?
Jugo. Interesting. Probably have him die by Sasuke's hand too.
How would you have that?
Because Jugo tries to stop Sasuke.
What? Really? You
Yeah.
think?
Yeah.
Tries to stop him.
Yeah.
You've gone
Right.
too far, Sasuke.
You've gone too far. Yeah, I would definitely have it like that. No.
No.
Well, I was going
Sasuke, what have you
to say the other Jinchurikis would probably be dead, but would we have Naruto talk with any of them beforehand?
I don't know. I would much rather have them like how they kind of did in the anime, where they had the filler arts having them.
Mhm.
And if Kishimoto would be willing to write anime episodes for them, I could see them having canon anime filler that doesn't exist in the manga, but it's kind of like this is just a side story in the anime that is what happened to them, kind of thing. Because I don't think they should interact with Naruto because it's kind of a huge gap.
Yeah.
But I do think they have interesting stories to tell, which I think should have been something, just a side thing for the anime to expand upon and put into. Because I think that's a missed opportunity to use the anime to give side stories.
It is.
That you can't put in the main story. I really think that more mangaka need to do that, even if just like, hey, here's a story I want to write. It's canon to the story, but I just want to put it in the anime because I think it'd be a better told story in there, so they can't do it in the manga.
Even though it was filler, like I think the Six Tails arc was a good example of that.
Oh yeah, that's the guy with the bubble thing, right?
Yeah, the slug.
Yeah, I really like that. That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, do something like that.
Yeah, that wasn't canon.
Yeah, right. Who else?
Hmm.
Do we kill off Raikage or do we keep him alive?
Maim him. I think people need to walk away from the war with lost limbs.
Floss limbs?
Yeah. This is supposed to be a giant impact.
It's supposed to, and we came out with barely any scratches.
Yeah. We tussled, and then everything worked itself out. No, that's not how you do a world war.
No.
No deaths.
Real life world war. 6 million to 9 million Jews were killed in concentration camps, showing the horror of how, fascism and bigotry can go when you let hate rule your life. Why don't we see this in Naruto? And we do. We kind of see it with the Uchiha and everything like that, and Tobirama. But here's the thing: Tobirama kind of had a point, and I know you all don't like to admit that, but he did.
No, he did.
Yeah. But I know some people are like, Tobirama was such an asshole. He's like the worst Hokage ever. But he had a point.
He did.
I'm sorry, he did. The story confirms that he had a point.
Yeah. Killer Bee?
Can't kill Killer Bee. He's too comic relief.
Yes.
He has to start his rap career.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's the Kanye West of the Naruto-verse. No one man should have all this chakra.
Okay, I think if we go into like time skip designs after the war, I think he's the one who looks at least a tad bit more decent compared to everybody else.
Oh yeah. And we got Naruto. Hello, I'm Kevin Federline. So what would you like? I want a hairstyle that says I'm married to a woman that I don't even love and could be a complete and total jackass. Say no more, fam. And sadly, Ichigo got the same haircut.
Yeah, everyone.
Ichigo does look slightly better though than Naruto did. So not better, but
what is wrong with Naruto's face though? It looks swollen.
The idea I saw some people have was like, maybe he's just following the Obito route, taken after him.
And yet we had a great Naruto design in the Tales of a Gutsy Ninja.
Yep.
Right.
Could have went with that one.
That one would have been better.
Oh God, who else? Tsunade, maybe.
For real this time?
For real this time.
Right?
Actually, here's something I would say for Tsunade. After the pain arc, say she's still in a coma. She's not up at all.
She's awake. What the hell happened?
Now, and then you establish that during that a year and a half, like Kakashi had to take over for as Hokage.
Hey, maybe we can always ask Jiraiya. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no!
Too soon.
Hey, Kabuto's, why didn't you bring back Jiraiya? His body was in the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, but you can clone him
Yeah.
somehow. Can't wait for that explanation.
That was a big prediction
Enough.
a lot of people had during the wars. Like maybe Jiraiya will come back. Kabuto, I can't. He's too far in the water. I'm like, severed limbs, lots of blood. Yeah, sure.
Or didn't Kabuto say like he had one of Pain's receivers that had Jiraiya's blood on it?
Yeah. So you could totally do it.
Amazing.
And you know what? I want to definitely screw Naruto over. Like, oh shit.
Yeah. Bring back the frogs too. Make them Edo Tensei.
It's like you never thought. It's like I didn't think.
Oh, surprise!
He's like, oh, it's you. Can we not fight? No, Naruto wouldn't do. No, maybe he would. Who knows?
Surrogate dad, no!
Oh no! Don't do this.
You monster! No, I wouldn't do that to Jiraiya. He's too succinct.
He is.
You need to let Jiraiya rest in peace on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But no.
Would you still bring Minato back or no? Because I've seen like a divide where some people are like, bringing Minato back was core, bringing Minato back was probably not the best move.
I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on that one.
Yeah.
I like Minato, like, being there, and he certainly showed badassery when he was there, too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would have brought Hashirama back. I kind of would want him to stay as a legend,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like, we know he exists, but we don't really know much about him, kind of thing at this point. Maybe bring Madara back and then have it, like, and then you have the idea, wow, if Madara is this powerful and Hashirama kicked his ass, imagine how powerful Hashirama is. And then instead of constantly using Hashirama cells, why not use Hashirama's descendants?
That is true.
I mean, if it's all about genetics, why not just have all his descendants, like, do stuff like that? I don't know. That's a weird one. Tobirama, though, that's an interesting question. I don't know if I would bring Tobirama back either.
I could see Hiruzen. Hiruzen could work.
Yeah, I could see Sarutobi and Minato being brought back.
Yeah.
And to think that Sarutobi versus Orochimaru in the beginning of part 1, that was said to be Hokage level combat. That's
Right.
nothing compared to later down the road. We went from an old man using a monkey as a staff to, I'm just going to chuck this small moon at you.
You know, that's another thing I would change about part 2 too, is like the power scale. Like, make it feel a lot like part 1.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or
like lost it.
Yeah. Or make those abilities so rare that it can only exist in one way. So, like, okay, I can get Hagoromo being that powerful. I got that. I could see Madara somehow taking Hagoromo's powers into himself using the tail beast. Okay? I got that. I can't get Madara prior to that being as powerful as he was, having the Rinnegan and everything.
Bringing 2 meteorites down.
What?
Bringing 2 asteroids down.
Yeah, bringing 2 asteroids down. Somehow being able to use abilities without any eyes, even though he just said like 2 pages before, "Oh, you have to have both eyes to make it work." Well, apparently not for you. Did you remember that he said like, "Oh, the only way to use this Susanoo is you have to have both the eyes. They have to be together."
Both eyes.
And then he has no eyes, and he summons Susanoo. Okay. Yeah, not happening. Yeah, the whole meteor thing, that was stupid. If he had god level powers like Hagoromo, then yeah, great. Before that, come on. Really? No way. But then I guess the question would be, then how would you defeat Madara after he got the god powers? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not do the reincarnation thing, but Hagoromo lets Naruto and Sasuke borrow his powers too.
Wouldn't that still kind of go against the whole working your heart thing? At least for Naruto's side.
Maybe, but if we're gonna do it, at least it'd be a temporary boost and not say, "Oh, well, this is something that was always supposed to be yours. You inherited it because you're a reincarnation," and then later in Boruto, never use those powers ever again.
Yeah, I mean, this is the idea I had for the Sun and Moon seal. The idea I had for Naruto getting it is like, say, it comes from Sakura's healing, and then Yin Kurama's power, to where whatever little remnants of Kurama that Naruto had before he was taken away is merged with the Yin Kurama, and then again coming from Sakura is what forms the Sun Seal. And with Sasuke, it comes from Kabuto helping him, and Karin too. Combination of, say, the Uzumaki chakra and the curse mark from Kabuto.
Maybe.
Is what formulates the Moon Seal. And going even further with Kari, that could actually be a factor as to why Sasuke gets the Rinnegan. It's because of that.
Why did you give Sasuke the Rinnegan? Does he still use it? Has he used it at all in Boruto?
Rinnegan?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's kind of used it, but not. I mean, very few I have no idea. I mean, I know he's used it, but I don't know if he's used it.
Like, used it, yeah.
Well, I think he uses his teleportation thing.
Mm-hmm.
You mean the hyperkinetic reversal?
Oh, yeah.
It just switches places with something. I'll be using that shit all the time. Someone grabs me, switch with the tree.
Switch with the tree.
I have got you. Ow! What the hell? He's much better than the log. Seriously, why aren't Sasuke and Naruto using those broken ass powers now in Boruto?
Who knows?
I don't see like Naruto pulling out those rods that he used to have, or using those black balls that he had.
Nope.
He just does the Kurama cloak, and then he gets his ass kicked. Like, what happened to those godlike powers? What happened to the Jesus powers that you had? You gave Kakashi back his eye. What happened to that?
His eye. His.
Uh-oh, I lost an arm. There it is.
I also wasn't really a big fan of Naruto's final Biju cloak design.
Piccolo that shit.
Piccolo!
Piccolo.
Sounds like plot stupidity. Plot-induced stupidity.
Yes.
I wonder when Naruto's gonna realize he could fly. Hey! And yes, Naruto flew. At the end, he was flying.
He could fly.
And he was flying in the movie, too, so you can't say that shit either.
Right?
Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Then the Evangelion comes out of nowhere.
You're right.
Here comes the giant! Oh, I don't know. I have to really think about that. I really want Madara to be the final enemy in the manga. I do like the fact that he got Hagoromo's powers, more or less.
Yeah.
But I think there's a better way that you could write that where he gets them. And I think there's a better way you can solve the issue. Maybe he gets weaker the more tail beasts you pull out of him. Maybe they find some way to do that.
You could.
Maybe it's kind of like, I don't know, Mortal Kombat with like... what's his name? How in the movie, like, he was more powerful with the souls that he got, but at the end of the movie, like, the souls were leaving him because his grip over them was loosening. So he was losing power with every soul he lost.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, like, Madara, like, losing control over the powers that he has of the god power, and this tail beasts are slowly leaking back out, and it becomes weaker. Especially if you want to promote the power of friendship, because Naruto's influence over the tail beasts gives, I don't know. It sounds stupid and cliche, but it's a hell of a lot better than what we got. Let's give Naruto a Byakugan. Makes about as much sense as anything else in this series.
Do we give Naruto more than just the Rasengan and its variations, or do we still keep that the same?
I would keep the Rasengan as the same.
As the same?
Yeah. I do still like how he made the mini Rasen Shuriken that chucked that and then it exploded into a big thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That was cool.
And actually Menma's Rasengan that he did, where he is like a little black ball and then he just drops it and then
Cool too.
That was actually pretty cool.
Explode.
I have one question for you. Explosions?
Explosion.
I have to admit, I really like Obito's abilities with the dimensional Sharingans.
That is cool.
When you throw those Sharingans and they explode into a singularity and sucks everything into it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really badass Susanoo. It's too bad Kakashi had to use it.
Kakashi and Obito, it's like their eyes are similar. Kakashi's like, like sending stuff over Obito's like, huh, just here reading a book. And then all of a sudden it's like, what the
Oh my god, there's a lot of porn in here. Sorry. Could you imagine if when Obito like had people sucked into that dimension, like Kakashi was like, "All right, I'm gonna use my ability against an enemy," and the guy just falls out. Odd.
And
that wasn't supposed to happen.
No, and the Naruto and Sakura like, is that normal?
Yeah. Do you normally like manifest men out of your eyes?
It's like, especially dead ones.
Yeah.
Normally I don't, but
Let's see if I can try with a woman. Damn it.
Oops.
no,
Guys like us don't just come out of nowhere, you know. Beautiful, naked, big titted women don't just materialize out of nowhere, you know. Dang.
I would say that, like, that's another thing, the whole Mangekyo thing, where apparently Kakashi's had it since killing Rin, but he never used it until part. I'm like, do we rework that somehow, or do we just leave? Like, well, we'll leave it there.
Although it does make sense on paper.
How would you do it?
Well, it's based off the entire concept of the fact that the closer the two eyes are together, the more powerful they are.
Mm-hmm.
So you could probably use it with Obito, maybe like when they encounter each other and fight during the earlier fights that I was talking about, the rewrite.
Yeah.
You know, that maybe he goes like, you don't know the true potential of your eye, so I'll use the power against you, and maybe uses his Sharingan to activate the other Sharingan and cause basically Kakashi to try to implode.
Oh no!
You know, and then it activates it, and he's like, "What's happening?" Ah, you know, you'll be sucked and crushed into the singularity dimension that I have created. Ah, and then like Naruto punches him or something and stops him from doing it, and then Kakashi's like, "Thanks, Naruto. What was that? I don't know. I didn't know my eye could do that. Huh? I wonder if I could control it." And then like all panel kind of explained that he'd been training to try to control it, see if he could do it too.
That would work, actually. I could see that.
And also emphasis that the power that he has is not his.
True.
You can even use that not at the Obito reveal fight, but to give the hint up to the Obito reveal. Like, well, how does this guy know? How is he able to control Kakashi's eye like that? Is he Obito? Is he someone who took Obito's eyes? Was it, you know, is it some ancient Uchiha? I don't know, that can unlock the abilities of other eyes? I don't know.
The abilities of other eyes.
It's all about hook and surprising.
Yep.
And that reveal, I think, would be a lot better than what we got in the story.
How did you get that eye? I got it at Kanabi Bridge. I guess we know who he is now.
How'd you get that eye? I stabbed my girlfriend. What? Sasuke, you just can't stab all the girls that like you. Why not? You did, you little shit. I don't know. I really want to do a massive rewrite. I just never had time to really sit down and think about it.
I don't know if you would like this idea, but what if, say, during the war, Sakura gets injured, similarly to Rin, that just sets Naruto off against Obito. And Obito just like says, "See, you are just like me." The same reaction.
Well, I had that idea, but with pain instead of Obito.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kind of like the Hinata confession kind of thing. In fact, the idea that I had was that Hinata confession would still occur.
Yeah.
Right? But it would be Sakura and Hinata going up to fight Pain. Okay?
Okay.
And then Pain notices how much Both girls seem to mean to Naruto,
Mhm.
and we can have a better relationship with Naruto and Hinata if you want to keep that love triangle going, kind of thing. But if you want to keep it ambiguous, but not so ambiguous that we never see what Naruto's thinking, where he just grabs both of them and says, and Pain goes, I'll give you a choice that I never had. Which one lives and which one dies? You know?
Oh shit.
And then what if he ends up stabbing both of them? And then he goes, and then, Pain just tells him, you couldn't make a choice, so I made it for you. And that's how the world works. Either you make the choices or the choices make you. Now you will suffer the consequences of your, what's the term?
What's the term?
Reluctant to do what needs to be done, kind of thing. Yeah. Now you'll know the consequences of not of your reluctancy to do what needs to be done, and that's the difference. I'm willing to put everything on the line for what I believe in. What are you willing to do? And then Naruto loses it because both girls he thinks are dead. Sakura, both on the ground, and Sakura gets up, and she's like, and since she's the medic, she's just like, and then she goes over to Hinata and heals Hinata and has that whole thing like it was in the story where she's contemplating about that, because I want to keep it ambiguous that Sakura is truly in love with Naruto because that comes later, but I want that trigger from Hinata be like that kind of jealousy out of Sakura, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Out of it. But I also want to give Hinata her due because I want to express in the story, and this is my big thing about this, I want to express in the story that Naruto made the choice himself. He wasn't forced to be with Hinata. It wasn't like, oh, well, I have to be with Hinata because the girl I love isn't it. No, he had a choice between her, and he chose her. And I'm sorry that Hinata is going to be sad about that, but if she truly does love Naruto the way she does, then she should accept that. Because if you love somebody, I'm going to quote Good Will Hunting on this one. You don't know what true love is because true love is in loving someone more than you love them yourself. And I want Hinata to admit that she is selfish, like she does in this, but really understand, I'm being selfish. It can't be about me. It really can't.
Yeah.
There's too much in the world to be selfish like that, and it still goes on with the theme of everybody else and everything of what they want to do, what's their desire, what's this. Well, the world doesn't always work like that, and sometimes to do the right thing, you have to give up what you love the most, And that's what I want Hinata to be like. I want her to be that loving, comparing, and supportive. And it's like, I've always loved you, but if you don't feel the same about me, I understand that. But more importantly, I just want you to be happy. So if you love Sakura, go for her.
Yeah. Maybe you could. I could take it a step further. Like maybe you could have it a thing where she's like, she's like supportive of it, and I don't know, maybe encourages him to do whatever it takes.
Maybe he tries to explain something to her, and she shuts him up and goes, and explains, during the war, maybe, I've always loved you ever since you were a kid, but I knew that you can never love me as much as I loved you, and that's okay. But you need to go with what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Naruto doesn't need to say anything, doesn't need to give a rejection. She already understands. You don't need that. It's like the hug. You had the Pain hug where she stood back and she smiled when Sakura hugged Naruto. There wasn't like, oh, that. No, she was like, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It is.
And it's adorable.
Ah, it's cute.
It's so cute. It's adorable.
It's a little cute. It's adorable. But that's one rewrite I would do, especially with the Pain. I want Sakura to be more involved. especially if she makes a claim. I'm going to be more helpful. I'm going to be a team player. I'm going to be this. Well, do it. Show it.
Which I think would also fall in line with what she said at the end of part 1. And this is actually why I would still keep the Naruto versus Sasuke fight at the end. Is like, say it starts off that way with Naruto versus Sasuke, and then like midway through, it changes to like the Neo team Sonic battle.
Yeah.
Where you got Sasuke fighting off against Naruto and Sakura. Sakura with the slug, Naruto with the toad, and then Sasuke with the snake.
And the hawk.
Mm-hmm.
Bring in the hawk!
And hawks, of course. And
Hawk boy.
Even though hawks eat snakes.
I just realized something. Yeah, like it's like okay, hawk, snake, and then all of a sudden the two just look at each other.
Turtle.
Ooh, food.
Yeah.
Is this a smart idea? No. You two aren't fighting each other, you're fighting them. But he looks delicious. I don't care. Fighting them.
Birdie!
What does that do with the Rock Lee thing? I feel like a Rock, like the Ninja Pal spinoff would do something like that.
Rock Lee SD.
Yeah.
I love how many NS moments are in that series.
Yeah. Hey Naruto, do you want to be my puppy? Sure.
Well, it makes sense for Sakura to be with Naruto. I mean, she has a personality, great sense of humor. They get along together. Naruto's underneath the bench. Thank you, 1010. The Stalker episode. Naruto good. Ah!
Dude, if this ever releases that on Blu-ray, I'm picking it up. Dude.
I got that special ointment for you.
Oh god.
Oh my god, Kami! Is that what they're calling it nowadays?
I'm not.
Who knows?
No, I'm just thinking of Team 4-Star there for a minute.
Yeah. So what else we got? What else we need to talk about?
What else could happen? Okay, do we want to keep the Child of Prophecy, or do we want to get rid of that?
I would keep it only if we're going to throw it back into the face.
This is what I was gonna say about that. Like, I could have it to where, like, have that be a red herring. You think it's Naruto, but you find out the Child of Prophecy ends up being somebody else.
Yeah. Or just, I'd rather just have the series be like, look, these prophecies are always so vague. You don't know who it's talking about. What does it matter? Could mean anybody. What if it's about my kid? It doesn't matter. All I care about is what's happening now, not some stupid prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
We make our own destiny. You're gonna fight someone with powerful eyes. Whoa, that sounds like Boruto.
It's like, oh, I guess we know who that is.
Yeah.
Well,
You think it's Sasuke, but then you find out, no, it's Obito. Oh.
Yeah. But yeah. But that's I think actually that would be interesting. Now that I think about it. What if the prophecy wasn't about Sasuke, it was about Obito?
That would have actually turned out a lot better, in my opinion. Because we know how important Sasuke is to the story, and you're led to think, okay, it's we know it's Sasuke, and then come the war, it's like, no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Obito.
I like the way Harry Potter handled the prophecy. Where they said, you know, the Dark Lord will mark him as his equal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it could have been Harry or it could have been Neville because they were born in the exact same day. They had the same criteria, right?
Yeah.
And the only way the prophecy was going to come fruition was that Voldemort had to create his own enemy. If he went and attacked Neville first, like he was going to do originally, it would have been Neville Longbottom and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you could play it like that in Naruto, where it's just, you know, it's I guess you could say self-fulfilling.
You could do that.
You're gonna face a man with powerful eyes, and he's gonna challenge you to, and he's gonna challenge your student to reform the world as it is. Okay, is that Sasuke or Obito? Technically, it's both.
Technically, yeah.
But you realize that it's Obito because Obito ends up marking Naruto instead of Sasuke.
That kind of got me thinking about the first X-Men movie too, where at first you think that Magneto's after Logan,
Yeah, Wolverine.
but then you find out that it's really Rogue that they go
Yeah.
after.
That was such a good scene. What do you want from me? You? Who said anything about you?
That was well done too. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, Ian McKellen played that scene like a boss.
Yeah. See, take out the reincarnation scene. We already said that.
Yeah. I also like the theory with him in Lord of the Rings where, he said, fly, you fools. Where he's telling them, go to the Hawks and fly to Mordor.
Yeah.
Go!
I'm trying to think what else the rest of we could do.
Damn it, you screwed up my plans.
Damn it. We'll see you next Tuesday.
And in fact, Obito should get a prophecy too.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, if we're gonna go with prophecies, give Obito a prophecy and have him get the joke at the end.
What would his prophecy be?
I don't know. Something vague and ambiguous.
Boy.
Just like this one.
True.
I don't know. I mean, it undermines everything.
That does. That's the double-edged sword to it.
Yeah, you either have to mock it, or you have to make it so tricky that it's a play on everything.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not used as a prophecy reincarnation thing, I guess you could argue that, hey, maybe we can feasibly make Naruto a hard worker while also indicating that maybe he's some prophesized being. I don't know. Probably not. It's really hard to say that. I mean, the only thing that I can think of from memory that was somewhat recent was a Fairly Odd Parents series, which was I think it was supposed to be a Matrix parody, which had Timmy Turner. It was so vague of a prophecy that all it had was TT. So then they had this character showed up called Turbo Thunder, who was supposed to be the true prophesized hero. It's like, oh yeah,
It's better than the Pokemon prophecy.
yeah, I know. There's a oh yeah, the one.
The world will turn to ash.
Yeah, that could mean anything.
Well, your name is Ash, after all, and the world turning you to save the day. That's not what that meant.
No, it just means turns to ash. I wonder what that was like in Japanese, because it was Satoshi is his name in Japan.
Yeah, it was Satoshi.
Who was also the original creator of the Pokemon series, Satoshi Tajiri.
That's an interesting way to look that one up.
Yeah, no. I'd have to look. I also have to look that up now that I thought of. Now that you mentioned that, it's like all these years. But yeah,
And yeah, Pokemon has a better romance than Naruto.
Prophecies ruin a lot of things if you're trying to do dedicated hard work. So
Yeah.
I don't know how you would make it not work, but
It'd be like in My Hero where you already established Deku doesn't have a quirk.
yeah.
Just kidding. He always had a quirk. We just took it.
What if well, there are fan speculations that maybe he actually did have a quirk, or does have a quirk.
That would undermine.
His quirk is that he has no quirk. How does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know.
That would
We
just
don't know.
So what else is new?
So what else is new? Hey, what were we talking about, guys?
Yeah, we're gonna have to go back to Goku arguments after this.
Probably.
Me and James would have one. That'd be a fun one to do.
Yeah.
Do an actual podcast on that. Well, you see, the nature of Goku as a character.
Who wants to see me piss off the entire fandoms all at once?
Yeah.
Naruto can beat Goku.
Naruto could be Goku.
Naruto's Mega Ultra Ramen Baconator Edition.
Baconator Edition.
But I think we pretty much covered everything about the series that we could possibly comment on. I'm sure there's a little stuff here and there we could nitpick, but the overall thing is that the story lost its meaning along the way, and I think it needs to be rewritten to reestablish those very meanings that the series started with.
It did, yeah.
I really think that you can have Naruto still have genetic privileges, I guess you could say, with abilities, but we need to show him actually working on them. Like, actually deconstructing it, actually taking the patience to learn it. It's not like just, oh, something sad happened, now I got ultimate power. No.
No.
Oh, man.
Not at all.
Show him, like, trying to manifest the change. Show him trying to learn his father's technique. Show him trying to learn wind techniques. Show him, we got the Sage Mode. We have him learning Sage Mode, but all he does is use it to boost his own power. Make him, show him doing more frog techniques. There's so much he could have done, and all Naruto does is, I'm gonna boost my power. I'm gonna boost my power. I'm gonna boost my.
Yeah, no, you could have done that. You could have like made like more connections with like the people around him. That's a lot.
Yeah. Like that, like, what if Asuma, like, in that filler episode, like, he gave that one kid the blades that came from that chakra tree?
Mm-hmm.
What if Naruto got something like that?
Oh, wow.
That would have been cool. That definitely would have been cool.
That was so awkward. I feel bad for this one kid. Not you, Naruto. I don't feel bad for you. Even though you're both exactly the same. You're both orphans from a nine-tailed demon. So I bought him Wolverine claws. I could channel wind chakra.
Channel the wind! So Naruto can fly without flying?
Yeah.
Hasagi! Your mom weighs a ton.
Oh, damn.
But
Yeah, but that's Yasuo and League of Legends. He always does his, like, the end, his ultimate technique, and he always says this weird thing. But I always thought he says, "Your mom weighs a ton," and then he slams it down. He got done.
Look with James. So there's a lot more we could probably talk about, like as far as like minor details and stuff goes. But I think we pretty much covered everything for the rewrite of part 2.
Yeah, we'll do another 4-hour long video on it.
Another 4 hours.
Probably.
As we ramble. There was no 4-life here, so that rambling even took less time.
Yeah, poor 4-life.
He's gonna look back and it's gonna like, shit, I should have.
Yeah, that 4-life about Star Wars the whole time.
I had so much to say.
So much.
Especially when I mentioned the term fillers.
Fillers.
Should do a whole video with him on just the fillers, since he's really into that.
That's how he comes back. It's like, okay, next anniversary podcast, let's do fillers. Sign me up.
Fillers.
I have so much to say about this.
Probably.
4-life, we miss you. Especially that one podcast where you talk for 45 minutes straight and not one of us said anything.
He went a lot on. What was it? The War Arc, I think.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That was a lot.
Let's not talk about him when he's not here. Let's talk about him when he is here.
We miss you, 4-life.
Yeah. And Blue Star. Blue Star could talk too.
But But yes, folks, this has been yet another Naruto Anniversary Podcast.
See you next year.
See you next year.
What Team B?
Team B. Better than 1A.
Yeah,
Take that.
we got
blue
higher
star
grade
and-
scores.
Take that blue star and Steve.
Yeah,
Maybe Chad, I think, too.
yeah,
we're better.
We're better.
better.
Team 3-star.
Team 3-star. That's not funny. It's never been funny.
It'll never be a thing.
Cryptic metaphors.
Cryptic metaphors, indeed.
Just
Nah, this is-
true.
This has been really interesting.
It has. Who knows what we're gonna do next year, but that will definitely come next year, depending on whatever topic that ends up being.
Probably about Naruto.
Probably.
Oh, I wonder.
And in saying that, folks, I'm LuckyRave.
I'm James S. Cassidy.
Oh no! And I'm MangaReader.
Believe it.